Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lambertville Unified School District Board of Education meeting for March 18th, 2015. Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. For information, this meeting is being recorded, and please silence your cell phones at this time and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Shane Nielsen.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Tessa Pungchai. Here.
At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence in memory of Suzanne Graves, our seventh grade teacher at Lambertville Elementary School, who recently lost her battle with cancer. Thank you. Approval and/or corrections of the agenda. There are a couple here. Under action items, item F has been stricken from the agenda. And under site reports, we're going to switch the order. Bethany will go first, followed by Wicklund. Anything further? No.
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
So we have Shane and we'll go with Colin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Receiving of public comment for any items that are not currently on the agenda. I have one speaker card from Aman Gill. Please come forward to the microphone. And sir, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. The board can ask any clarifying questions but cannot engage in any discussion.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Board President and all other board members, all the staff members and everybody. I'm here, Bethany Parent, and I have some questions, and I was engaged with the staff over there regarding the selection process for state team, which is going to represent for Science Olympiad. And my son participated in, there were two teams. My son was on yellow team, and he did pretty good. And I wanted to know what are the selection criteria because they are going to the state, and what is the selection criteria to pick the kids from yellow team. The red team, the Bethany is going to the state competition because of red team. That's true, but they picked up certain kids from yellow team. So I'm concerned that the season was not fair and square. I want to know what was the criteria, what are the facts where they choose kids one over the other. My kid is a brilliant student. He received back-to-back perfect score in math until the state abolished the STAR testing. He's sixth grade. He was number 2 in the whole school for his science project. He's participating in pentathlon since last year. He received a third position, and he's always participating in extracurricular activities. And I looked into the data, whatever the county, Annie Coniel from San Joaquin County provided. I looked into that data that he deserved the chance to go forward. He's being deprived from growth, whatever, because these things go on your resume whenever you go long term. I'm looking at long term, and I want him to succeed and should be given all the opportunity he deserves. And right now, I don't see that it's fair and square, and I would like the board to look into it and do the justice. And I am hoping here that we can resolve it here at the local level.
Board have any clarifying questions? No? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Nichols, do you have any comment on that?
We'll be contacting you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and good evening, and thanks for providing me an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentations, Mountain House Developers. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you all again. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to make a presentation on some of the exciting things that are happening at Mountain House. Do we want to just launch with that? Noel, did you load up the video? Can we do it now?
Can you introduce yourselves in case there's anyone in the public that doesn't know you? I doubt it, but.
Will do. Thank you for the reminder. I'm Fran Morgan with LDC Advisors. Dave Sargent, Shay Holmes. Collectively, we manage the Mountain House development. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to make a presentation to you guys. We're going to start with the video, and I'll confess, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's great. And it spotlights Hanson Village, which is the new neighborhood directly across the street from Mountain House High School. And I think they even do a little bit of a video of the high school itself. But it's newly produced on our website, and thought we'd debut it for you tonight. Okay.
So Hanson Village has been an exciting addition to Mountain House. It really is that progression of the next village within the community. What makes Hanson Village extremely desirable is its proximity to the high school. It's located adjacent to the brand new Mountain House High School, but also eventually Hanson Village too will house an elementary school at the center of its community. And so you really have this walkable community to all levels of education once it's built out. Richmond American was our first builder in Hanson Village. They sort of kicked the community off for us. They offer a nice product, 21 to 2,500 square feet. They're traditional homes. They've got some nice loft, den options, very versatile floor plans. Woodside Homes, building in Hanson Village, 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. Nice, beautiful homes, 3-car garages, nice outdoor California rooms. Definitely flexible floor plans, very exciting floor plans, have been a great addition to Mountain House. Signature Homes is also building for us here in Mountain House and Hanson Village. Square footage, 1,900 to 2,300 square feet. These are nice alley-loaded homes. They have beautiful front porch elevations, which give it a great, real welcoming neighborhood street scene as you drive through the community. What makes Hanson Village extremely desirable to people is its proximity to the high school. And the high school truly represents sort of a fulfillment to that commitment to the community. So it's very exciting to see. It's doing great things for those that are already here at the community. It's also bringing more people to Mountain House that now see that there is a high school here. And if they've got older children, it's an opportunity for them to step right into a tremendous learning environment.
Well, the unique nature of Mountain House High School in the Central Valley, so it's a one-to-one instructional program, meaning that students have computers and we don't have textbooks. And the students learn through the internet connection and through blended learning. In a blended and flipped environment, it's completely different. So students are using the computer, they're given a task, they go find the information, they learn it, they do something with it, and when they give it back, it's done with 21st century skills in mind, but in the end, they're using technology and their own interpersonal resources to make things happen.
We see athletics as another opportunity for students to learn something outside of their classroom, and oftentimes students really respond to that. So we've brought in talent in terms of our coaches from around the country, really, and these coaches are devoted to helping our athletes develop as students and as people.
Typically, you don't have a field turf with a college-level track, a gymnasium to house 2,400 students that can also put on professional development and also house student leadership programs and programs where you can bring in students throughout the valley.
The Welcome Center has been a great addition. It's a great place for people to come, learn, discover. Mountain House is truly an original, just organic, great community, especially when it comes to their commitment to the youth and education.
Thank you, Noel. So thank you. We're excited to be able to showcase the high school in our Mountain House videos, and thank you to Superintendent Nicholas and the others who participated on behalf of the district in that interview. So the high school fulfilled a promise and a dream for many residents of Mountain House, but there's still a piece missing, And our next focus as we move through this development is the town center. As many of you know, we gained control of the primary town center parcels only about 18 months ago, and during that time have investigated what was really going to work in the community. We've talked to the community members, held workshops, and looked at what our options were for re-envisioning the town center to create a vibrant place for retail and commercial activities to serve the Mountain House residents. Oh, I have the goodie. Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay. The town center, for those of you who don't know, is right now just a big patch of field immediately north of where this building sits, between this building and Byron Highway. About 160 acres. Will ultimately house commercial, a grocery store, some retail, some mixed use, the community facilities such as the library and the town hall, the community center, an aquatic center, a teen center, the rest of Central Park, as well as along Main Street, some mixed use, commercial, retail, and residential development. So many people ask, why did we need to change the plan? There is an existing plan for the town center. It is entitled, we do have tentative maps for the town center, but it was based on a plan developed over 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, we were much more auto-centric in our approach to land planning. The town center was originally planned for big box stores, which now are located a few miles away in Tracy. And that planning was originally done before the internet was commercialized. So for the kids that are here today, you probably can't imagine not having the internet as part of your everyday life. But 20 years ago, we didn't have internet in our homes, and we certainly didn't have it in our schools. And so the way we live today is very different from the way we lived 20 years ago. And the town center that we have, the plan today, was designed back then. So we felt it was really important for us to change the town center plan. Many of you participated in our workshops. Thank you. The consumer and the community input was really critical as we moved forward with our replanning. What we heard from the community is that they wanted a town center that was walkable, that would be a place they could gather and come together, and the old design didn't give us that. So as a result, we've created a new design, which has now been submitted to the county and has started the processing stage. Processing can take anywhere from 9 to 24 months. We're hoping on the short side rather than the long side. If our processing goes smoothly and we have no hiccups and we get through quickly, we could commence construction of the town center as early as spring of next year. There we go. Some more about our process. We do have a website that's launched specifically for the town center. You know what? I didn't bring these up. I'd like to hand some materials out to the board. Now, hopefully, you all have received these in your mailbox. If not, see us, and we'll figure out why. But this mailer went out a few weeks ago to coincide with our submission of the application to coincide with our submission of our application to the county. And as you fold that out, the big picture shows the town center plan and the new uses. Without getting into some of the nitty-gritty, there will be a grocery store. That's going to be the focus of the town center. And then some ancillary retail along a new street called Plaza Street, which will come off of Mountain House Parkway and will feed that grocery center complex and give that integrated retail that the community says they want, while in a kind of an old-fashioned Main Street format. We've also relocated part of the Central Park out to an outlying parcel where originally there was high-density senior housing planned. we've moved that housing into the town center to create more of a walkable community and to vitalize the town center. So we wanted to give you guys an update on what we're doing. This is with the county. The county will, of course, reach out to you for comments. And Dave and I are at your disposal tonight for questions, or of course, anytime as we move through this process.
Please.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, I don't know how you want to go about doing this, but I did actually have a couple of questions. First, from my reading the plan and review of the original plan, as I've been an original resident here, moved in over 10 years ago, it's clear that a lot of the changes entail addition of what is clearly a residential area. And I'm a little, I'll just say it frankly, disappointed that we're finding out that the plan's already been submitted when there's a potential impact on the school district without it having been brought to us to discuss prior
Yeah.
to submission. So I would ask, first of all, with regards to the areas of new residential units, how many additional units are you adding?
So the short answer is actually 0 as far as net increase of units to the master plan. So there were already in the master plan 400 and maybe up to 440 units in the town center. That's the existing approved plan, what's in the master plan. And there were 300 senior units, which actually they don't have any kids anyways. They were in neighborhood H before, where the park is on the other side of the creek, and those 300 units just moved down into the town center. So this won't add any more students to the.
So
to
what,
Mountain House.
the senior units come from the neighborhood
The
that's
senior
not mapped
units,
here?
yeah, you got the laser
Yeah,
pointer there?
yeah, the senior units
Yeah,
that are
that's it.
currently located right here in this version of the plan were originally right here in this version of the plan. So there's no
I'm confused, where was
additional-
Central Park then, if that wasn't Central Park in the original version of the plan?
Central Park came all the way down in like so.
Yeah, but my recollection is, and again, I'm trying to remember a plan from 10 years ago, that Central Park extended most of the way down the creek, what exists as the creek, and that the residential units that were the senior assisted units or senior only units were across Byron Road almost exclusively, exclusively.
Yeah, this was the one exception. So yeah, there's the big active adult community, 2,400 plus units on the other side of Byron Road.
Right.
But these were all, it's kind of like a small footnote in the master plan, but yeah, those units there on the west or northwest side of the creek have always been senior units.
So where it was senior units is now Park?
Yes.
Where it was senior units is now park, and what was park is now senior units. So we've just shifted the one use. So we've been careful with the plan to basically keep all the land use acreage is the same. So it's still the same amount of commercial and retail. It's the same amount of residential. It's the same amount of park.
So you're saying the available square footage, because that's also not my understanding, the available square footage for commercial space did not change?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
So
have to go back and look at that, but that's not my recollection.
Yeah, we were very careful because there's other things, like you got to preserve the amount of jobs that this generates. So we made sure that we provided the exact same acreage of each use. So we didn't take away any park or didn't take away any commercial. So it's
I think we actually increased the park
a little bit.
a few
yeah.
acres, yeah.
So, but if you'd like, I'd be happy to sit down with you and go through.
Love
and
to.
we could,
But I would, like I would say,
we can look at
there's
the
not a whole
plan.
lot in here that references that these are senior units. And as a member of a school board who's looking at new residential units or the potential of new residential units and going, I wonder where they think they're going to go to school. I wonder what it's going to do to our student generation. I would think that before you'd actually submitted the plan to the county, a little conversation and this presentation to us might have been, at least from my perspective, polite. So,
And
I'll
if I
just
could
end on that.
piggyback on something that you're saying, if the residential units are the same number, but they just shifted, that skews the whole plan that everybody can walk to their school, because it won't be able to anymore.
Except these are senior units and they have no children living in them. Yeah. But the existing units in that area,
Can I clarify? I heard 440 units and then additional senior units, correct?
Yeah, so
So they're-
440 traditional units, no senior restriction, and then 300 senior units.
300.
That were in the Cuesta neighborhood, but
Okay.
now it's moved into the town.
So there still will be student generation in Town Center?
Yes, there,
But it's, yeah, the same as in the original plan. In the mixed-use area, really, it's mostly along Main Street where that mixed-use area is.
Okay.
And that has not changed.
So where there used to be a sign, future home of multi-unit housing, that's the apartment buildings, and that hasn't changed?
That's not in this, that hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, okay.
I have a
Yeah.
I have a similar but slightly more specific question as a person that's been in real estate development. The unit count is one thing. Are the anticipated square footages and unit types similar? Did we? I hear you saying, hey, we basically transported the units, but trading a 1,200 square foot home for a 3,000 square foot home is probably going to change the student population most likely.
That level of specificity is not in either the approved plan or the revised plan. So that level of specificity is still to come. We've not made any assumptions with respect to the size of the units or the makeup of the units themselves.
And when that comes, I guess the calculation for the student generation is also included?
I would assume so. Yeah,
yeah, I think it's probably already calculated based on the fact that these are attached units and those have their own ratio for the 440 units in the town center, so it should just be the
So
same.
the 440 is all attached?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation. Actually, I know it's not necessarily town center, but anything as far as development on the other side of Byron? Is there anything in the talks at least?
we're yes and no. We haven't started the replanning effort north of Byron yet. Once we get the town center application kind of stabilized and we get through the first few months with the county, then our planners are all teed up. We'll basically start the same process for north of Byron. We'll start with a beauty contest of 4 different planning firms and then start the community process for the north of Byron work as well.
Okay. And again, the county anticipates 9 to 24 months, right? Is that what you said?
To get through the county process, yes. I wish we could be more specific, but a lot of it depends on the responses, the comments, and how the process goes and how the public responds to the application.
Okay. You have one more question?
I do, but Dave, you have one?
Just to follow up on that, is it my understanding then that you will be changing or attempting to change the master plan as it pertains to the development across Byron Highway as well?
North of Byron, we are looking at a change of that land plan. Again, just like with the town center, we don't necessarily want to change uses, although we're questioning whether or not 2,400 active adult homes north of Byron is appropriate. We think maybe a smaller, that maybe needs to be whittled down and there maybe needs to be more of a family component. But as you would expect, there's a number of things that fall, that opens up. So it's it's a 3D chess
Students crossing
game.
Byron Highway, that could be a little bit of a
Every parent would
problem.
look forward to that, huh?
So there's a number of things we have to look at. But we do think that, again, the land plan for north of Byron, it's 20 years old. It's not how we live today. We do think it needs to be revisited.
You have another one, Shane?
I did, while we have you as a captive audience, it has nothing to do with the town center, but I actually enjoyed the video and the shots of the high school and enjoy walking past the high school. It's beautiful until you get outside the fence. And quite frankly, the outside landscaping along Mustang and along whatever that is, Central. Is an eyesore. And I don't know at what point you guys are hoping to get that upgraded, but given that our high school's been open almost a year now, I'm hoping the answer to that is soon.
Yeah, it is soon. It was my plan to wait until school was out of session this summer to come in and put the landscaping in along both Mascot and along Central down to the end, just so, we're going to have people trenching and everything. We didn't want to have the conflict.
No, and I appreciate that. I have you on video saying that, and we'll
Yes,
look
well,
forward
that's
to the
fine.
end of the summer.
I was just worried you were going to ask for it sooner, which would
No. I would have hoped that it would be done before school starts again next year would be my
I
main
agree. We've got this beautiful high school, and weeds are coming up in front, so
Mowed
let's
weeds, yeah,
finish
so.
the job. Yeah.
Please,
So,
thank you.
yeah, so plans are in with the CSD right now, and they're moving through approvals, and the plan is to get them teed up so that when's the last day of school for the summer?
June 4th, June 6th?
Fifth.
June 5th.
June 5th.
So I'm
The
not
last day
gonna,
of school, we
I'm
have
not,
to vote on later.
I don't want to say a date or anything, but the plan is to start as soon as we can.
On a moment.
To piggyback,
On that note, we did have trees delivered today for the other side of Central Parkway, so at least we're trying to get that landscaped, and those trees should be in this week.
to piggyback on Shane's question, and I'm sure a question that most everybody in the audience probably has, when will Central open up to Grantline?
I wish I knew. Unfortunately, the developer obligation for Grantline Road resides with another developer. We are in discussions with them right now. We'd love for Grantline Road to be done right now. Because of the way those agreements are written, it's less than easy for us to step in and do it. So we're hoping to get an agreement with them to move forward on that as soon as possible.
So I know that a lot of the community is really pushing for that grocery store, but a lot of us commute, so I have two words: gas station.
On the plan, there you go.
Yeah,
Right there.
it's there. Yeah.
It's on the plan.
I
It's on the
saw
plan.
it on there. That's what made me think of it.
It's on the plan. So, just on another note, we've engaged Cushman, or in the process of engaging Cushman & Wakefield to do a national search. I have their proposal in hand. My goal is to get them on board as soon as possible so that for ICSC, which is the International Council of Shopping Centers, for the annual convention in May, we're fully marketed and ready to start signing tenants in May. I went to ICSC last year in anticipation of this. I've never been to a convention like this before. It was 34,000 people attending, not counting the exhibitors.
Where is it?
It's in Las Vegas. Where else could you have a convention of that size? My favorite town. I say that with a tongue in cheek. But our goal is to be marketing heavily, if not to already have people signed up by the time we get to ICSC.
So following the approval of the county, about how long do you think before you would break ground or start building the town center?
Well, the earliest you said in the presentation was spring of
Yeah,
16.
spring of 2016, because once we get to a certain point with our county processing, then we can start preparing improvement plans. We can't start them early because there's no point, things are gonna change. So we have to get to a certain point in our county processing. If everything goes smoothly and we get to that point, by fall, we can start our improvement plans. And then, we have to rely on the speed of the CSD and the county to process those improvement plans so that we could break ground in spring
I'm
of
just
2016.
going by if you say 24 months, up to, but let's say 24 months, sorry. that's just the way
Then
I
we
roll.
probably, then it's 24 months, and now we're into spring of 2017.
Okay, so, very good. Okay, anything further?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank
Appreciate
you for the
presentation.
opportunity.
Consent items for consideration, we have the approval of the governing board meeting minutes from March 4th, the warrants, a $20 donation from AT&T employee giving campaign to Ms. Twisselman's Wickland class, and then acceptance of 2 resignations. Any discussion on any of these items?
I move we approve the consent items.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. District Administrative Reports. Item A is the Superintendent's Report.
I just have a quick announcement. I received a communication from the California School Boards Association that I think really clearly defines flying a plane while building a plane at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. By unanimous vote, the State Board of Education suspended the Academic Performance Index, better known as API, for the 2014-15 school year at its meeting on March 11th. Instead, the State Board of Education aims to develop and launch a new accountability system as early as fall of 2016. State board members and other public education stakeholders expressed a shared goal of moving away from the API's single number measure, which is based exclusively on student test scores, to a system of multiple measures as recommended by the Public Schools Accountability Act Advisory Committee. These measures could include expulsion and suspension rates, graduation rates, and even the condition of school facilities. We heartily support moving to a multiple measures system of accountability. Was initially envisioned even in the early days of the API, CSBA Senior Director of Policy and Programs Terry Burns said in a memo sent to the State Board. Districts and County Office of Educations are complex entities that serve communities in many different ways. Meeting the needs of a diverse groups of students and parents, it is critical that schools be judged on how they are serving their communities, not on a single metric. So I'd like to share that with the board as the official suspension of a test score accountability for this year.
And I'd just like to comment, it would have come earlier. The state of California actually addressed this very early. They were waiting for federal approval because I get to go to those compliance meetings in Sacramento. So the last meeting I went to, they said, we're still waiting for approval that we can waive the API. So I guess they got it. So this is good.
They're going to tie an API score to your facilities, but at the same time, they're going to suspend construction bonds and they're trying to institute caps on reserves.
So they can make you fly the plane and not let you build it.
Yes.
The facilities pieces, I'm guessing, will be based on Williams' complaints. Yeah.
We will see. Okay, so
We have
moving
two
on
pre-
to
yeah.
site reports, we'll start with Bethany.
I only use one of these when I'm here, so make sure I'm doing it right. Thank you for having us here this evening. It's always a pleasure to come and talk about what we're doing. We're very proud of our school. So we start off, we love to do a whole school photo at the beginning of the year, and because there was no API score, we had to go with the calendar year. So. Our school foundation, just to spotlight our officers, Beth Neary is our president, and Suzanne Martins. If anybody in the audience wants to be Bethany's BSF president, or secretary rather, that's open. Jen Zuniga is sorry, I've been out with a cold, and I think it's muddying my brain, is our treasurer. Tricia Townsley is our parliamentarian, and Michelle Finnegan is marketing coordinator, which is a big position. Here's our financials. We spent a lot of money last year on a playground, so we're a little lean right now. These are just some things that they support. Same as last year, student incentives for Student of the Month assemblies, Read Across America Week, visitor badges, laminating film, all those extras that we like to have. The biggie is planners and folders. They buy those for every student. Our major fundraiser is just parents who want to kind of opt out of fundraising. Many of them write a check at the beginning of the year. We have worked the Kohl's Cares program to our advantage. They did a mixed bag catalog sale. We bring in quite a lot of money from box tops, 10 cents at a time, which is fabulous. Zumba, and then this year we're trying something new, which is an art night and auction, which will be in April. And then past projects, like I said, the playground is the big one. The fine print, you should always read that. There's a bell on the playground. Enough said about that. And what they're working on now is funding for field trips so that we don't have to work with parent drivers any more than we absolutely have to. Parents are fabulous and willing to stand up, or to step up, but there's a lot of paperwork and regulation with that, and so we prefer not to. So I tell students it means something to attend Bethany School. We work hard, we play hard, and we've been very successful. And you can see our last API score. Personally, I'm sorry to see it go. We had dialed that in pretty well. We were very pleased with our Science Olympiad performance this year. Of course, since I was here last year, we did get the California Distinguished School designation, and Bethany loves basketball.
Wait, you need to pause at the California Distinguished School designation. That's a big deal.
And that is all about the team, and this is a perfect slide to talk about that. the true foundation of Bethany's success is that we are a team and we work together, we play hard, and we work hard. And school culture is everything. This is a picture, you know, people are willing to laugh at themselves. This was our brainstorm for Halloween, where we were all minions.
What are
And-
minions? Just kidding.
You're getting old, Colin. I did have one teacher who had her entire class dress up as minions. We had minions everywhere. And then lots of kids have picked up minion things throughout the year, which has been cute. And truly, my basic belief in education is that if you have activities for students, it ties them to school and it ties them to learning. The more things that are fun about school, the better students do. And so I'm just highlighting a few activities here from the year. Turkey Trot happens in November. You can see that I have some very shy children that were just so resistant to wearing turkeys on their head. Student leaders run these programs with support from fabulous ASB advisors, Katrina Bornkamp, who's here with us tonight, and Nicole Kangas. And Turkey Trot, you know, a great activity, and it brings in $18,000, which goes directly to our classrooms, so that's fabulous. We do a lot of dress-up days throughout the year. You can see our Who from Whoville there. Lots of classes partner up, older students with youngers. This is an example of our kindergarten, 8th grade buddies. Always fun to see these 8th grade boys and girls out holding hands with a 5-year-old for whatever event it is, jogging around a Turkey Trot, or just they go out to PE with them sometimes. It's fabulous. And we have all school rallies once a month, and that's the only time our student of the month assemblies and whatnot can only happen. We have too many people, so we have a morning and a afternoon session. So we do an all school rally to bring everybody together for team building. You can see up in the corner there was a hula hoop contest. That's Mr. Thompson, I think Mrs. Charlin, Mrs. Crawford. You know, teachers aren't afraid to get up and have fun with the kids. And the kids just kind of ring the lawn area there and enjoy the activities. Can you click on? No, it's this one. I don't know. This is we have Student of the Month assemblies. No. Oh, I'm sorry. How about if you? I'm proud of these assemblies because they're totally student run. So our leadership students run the Student of the Month assemblies from start to finish. And this is an example. Something simple, but it pans around and you see I've got our older ASB students up here running the whole show. So, and you can click out of it. So the little ones have great role models in that. We played volleyball this year. That's certainly a development sport for us, but we're getting better every year. We have 4 basketball teams. We're much better at playing basketball than we are at remembering to bring our jersey for picture day. And but we have 4 teams, all still undefeated. Academic teams, we have a pentathlon team, science olympiad team, and this year they call it math tournament instead of math olympiad. I don't know why. And we were quite pleased to find that our team, our red team, is going on to state. We are going to be able to put a few members of the yellow team in as alternates, which is nice so that they can share that experience. Okay, now I'm stuck. Maybe.
Put an Apple video into a Microsoft product, and now Bill Gates.
I don't do Apple.
He's not happy. See, the little blue circle is Bill trying to decide if he's going to let you do it or not.
Maybe I did because I took it on my iPhone. Oh.
See? Told you. Bill's unhappy.
While we're waiting, I just wanted to say that, you know, after working with my boys on Science Olympiad and doing flashcards hours after hours, I am so very impressed with the whole district, like, you know, all the schools. It's just exponentially, you know, leaps and bounds.
It's very exciting. We started Science Olympiad actually back when I was a VP at Wickland. It's been maybe 6 years ago. Mr. Lee was kind of the inspiration for that whole thing, and kind of in keeping with our management style, when somebody says, hey, why don't we? And we say, absolutely, do it. And so it's kind of grown from there. But we were, and I'm going to give kudos to Wickland. We placed 6th at the county level. The first 5 teams go, but you can only take 1 team, and Wickland placed 1st and 5th. So we wouldn't be going if Wickland wasn't better than us at that level. So I'm just throwing it out there. You got it? Okay, thank you. Maybe not. Okay. I have a fabulous slideshow. This is... I don't know. Nothing unusual. Can you skip the next slide or put it in slide mode? Okay. Okay. See that? The cute little girl jammed up the whole thing. Read Across America Week, another one of our crazy ideas where we started this back when we were at Wickland too, but for Dr. Seuss's birthday, we play Cupcake Wars, and we bake 1,000 cupcakes for staff and students, and we do a school-wide birthday party for Dr. Seuss. And I'm still, can you just advance it? Okay. That's so weird. I've played it dozens of times. Should we bring the kids up then and try to go back to it? Okay. Okay, students, come on up. But you're presenting to the board, so turn around. Yeah.
Isn't it the other way around?
You're supposed to. Never been that young, it's a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
We are the Bobcats and we have a reputation. What? When we rock the beat, we are the best in the nation, yeah? Hey, everybody, you better get ready, 'cause the Bethany Bobcats are rocking it steady, yeah? We are the Bobcats and we ace all the tests. Yeah, we are the Bobcats and we beat all the rest. We go in as red and we come out as gold. Yeah, we are the Bobcats and we're ready to roll. B-O-B-C-A-T-S. Come on, Bobcats, we are the best. Woo!
Okay, so as you probably may know, a couple of weeks, Bethany ASB was able to host a leadership day at Mountain House High School, and we're here to tell you how that went.
You gotta use the clicker and click the right here. And the mic. Oh, they're
Okay, Kelly, you should do it. I don't know. Oh, such a big job. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. Is it working? Is it good? Oh, I think it is. Did I break something? Oh, crazy, very. Okay. We were given the wonderful opportunity to host a leadership day with over 300 students at Mountain House High School.
Leadership Day teaches our student leaders to embrace their qualities and become immersed in the world of leadership.
ASB's goal is to teach future generations the principles of leadership and to make them great leaders.
Leadership Day helps our students see what a leader is in action. When we first arrived to break the ice, we were introduced to a dance called the Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh, I did this. I taught you guys.
Teddy,
Let's see how you do. I taught you guys.
We got to meet the awesome Mountain House High School leadership class and bonded with them the whole day around our campfires.
At midday, we furthered our leadership experience by playing a really cool card game.
We walked around treating people based on their card value without knowing them.
People with the lower numbered cards stopped trying to be nice because they were afraid of being rejected.
We learned that as leaders, we need to see everyone as equal and embrace everyone's unique qualities. Rejecting others will not aid in creating a friendly environment.
Immediately following that was a delicious lunch.
We pondered the previous events on our day of the goal writing session. We thought about what we wanted to achieve and put it to paper.
No doubt you will see our magnificent student leaders out there accomplishing their goals. We ended the day with a well-executed leader selfie.
As you can see, many people came to Leadership Day. It was so much fun. Next week we are going to Castle. This year our ASB is going to learn the science of leadership. When we come back, we're going to have many ways to better our campus.
There are many positions student leaders can run for at Castle. For the first time, we had 3 students running for a position on the board, Teddy, Avery, and Faith. And as you already know, Teddy is chosen as a finalist to run for the Northern Freshman Director. Thank you for letting us come. It has been exciting being in ASB this year.
Thank all of you. We really appreciate all that you do, stepping up and being leaders on your sites. Thank you for participating at the high school. I know it sounds like you guys learned a lot, and sounds like we'll have a lot more good things to hear over the next few years. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So maybe another evening, we can, oh, there you go, that'll work. Okay, perfect. Yeah, don't click that video, that's just the Cotton Eye Joe, so go on to the next one if you don't mind. Perfect. Okay, as Teddy said, Teddy is our ASB president, and she has, we had 3 students apply to be the California State Freshman Director, Northern California, and they went through a process. She has made it to the final voting round, which will happen at the council conference next week, so she may end up being the Northern California rep, and we're very proud of that. She's very shy, as you can tell, so I don't know if she's suited to it.
Good luck. Good luck.
So aside from all these activities, what else makes Bethany successful? Well, one of the things that we've really focused in on, and our Distinguished Schools Plan talked about what Dr. Nicholas calls strategic support. We've called it differentiated instruction. But we still do DIG, or the elective wheel that we've always done. We have after-school intervention classes. We're using Compass Learning, and a whole lot of other things to make things individual for students, to serve specific student needs. We are focused in on standards and measurable objectives. I have one up here. This is from a 7th grade classroom. You can see up in the corner, that's how most people post them. And this one is about collecting data and measuring the lengths of different body parts. So what the 7th graders did is they measured, they were in groups, and they took measurements from each student and then calculated mean and the mean absolute deviation, and then made a person that matched that set of numbers, and then they made comparisons by gender. They talked about outliers, and you can find those posters now posted in the 7th grade classrooms, and that's part of the RCD process. We're implementing Common Core and, doing that. I thought that was really fun. Don't be afraid. Increasing grade level complex text. We're teaching kids to read things very closely. We're giving kids opportunities to speak on a daily basis. Academically, writing, lots and lots and lots of writing. We're empowering people to take risks, to work in cooperative learning environments, and we're using project-based learning, as you saw before. While we're doing that, though, we're still focusing in on, we're spinning again. This one talks about focusing in on basic skills, and I think that's really important. I think that gets lost a little bit in this transition to Common Core, but if you can't read, you can't explain why and talk about the plot of something. And so there are just some basic things, as I say, A says ah. We don't care why, it just says ah. And that's an example of a basic skill that kids have to learn. So we're still focusing on those. I think the next slide is about technology. We're using lots and lots of technology.
As it fades.
And from there, I think we've got some data slides. And basically what they show in a nutshell is that Bethany's doing very well. Most of our classes have met the expectation for the end of the year already as far as MAP scores go. When we look at our subgroups, and I don't know if this was sent to you guys in your board packet, the presentation, but one of the things you'll see is for example, the subgroups, you have to have 10 students to make a group. And when you're looking at grade level groups like 8th grade, for example, in the fall, I had a subgroup for Asian Indian. We had so many students that were gone at the winter test, during the winter test on independent study, that I no longer had a subgroup, so I didn't have a comparison. That also impacted our low income numbers, because if you're looking at 10 kids or 11 kids and one new kid that's very low moves in, it really changes the dynamic because it's such a statistically small population. So anyway, yay, thank you. Here's our math numbers. You can see going up by grade level. The orange is where we were at winter, and the blue is the end of the year expectation, so everybody's doing quite well. That's reading, same thing. We have, I think, 1 or 2 grade levels where they weren't quite at the end of the year, but they're beyond the mid-year norm. Focus areas, first grade, you can see this is broken down by subgroups, but like I said, and everybody is showing growth. First grade, we didn't see any kind of blips in that, so I was very pleased with those numbers. And the EL students reading at first grade, they're a little below the district norm, but you would expect them to be because they're also learning English. 4th grade reading, again, everybody is growing. And then here's what I was talking about with 8th grade. You can see that we had a score in the fall. We didn't have a score for Asian Indian in winter. And then that limited income went down, and that was really about a couple of kids being gone and 2 new students moving in that were much lower. So it's not a great statistical representation, though we are focused on that. And then last, just to say great things happen at Bethany every day, I like to say. Thank you for letting us share them with you. We would love to have you visit anytime. We're very proud of what we do there. And again, thank you. Sorry for the technical issues. I have no idea what caused that. Any questions? You good?
Ms. Wingo, Ms. Edwards, thank you very much for the presentation. I know this is something that the board looks forward to, and we appreciate all the students coming out, and there's a lot of great things going on at Bethany. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And on to Wickland.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Board President Balzerini, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Nicholas, and members of the Mountain House community. My name is Ryan Gonzalez. I'm the principal of Wickland Elementary School, and I'm here with Vice Principal.
You've been promoted.
Aaron Quintana. And we're here to present to you tonight Wickland Elementary School and all that we're accomplishing thus far this year. We are very excited to be up here to present to you this evening about all that we are accomplishing. And we'll be discussing with you a couple things, how we're working to develop a positive school culture at Wickland, and how we're focusing on continuous improvement and learning. And in order to start that off, I would like to invite our science Olympians up to the front here to face our Board of Education. As you can hear from all that clinging going on, that's the medals that they won at the recent San Joaquin County Science Olympiad Invitational. We are extremely, extremely proud at everything that we do at Wickland is about continually improving and being the best at what we can be and trying to aim for first. And this team has overcome great odds. I'd like to cordially thank their parents, Coach Kirian, but the students or scholars themselves for all their hard work and dedication. For the first time ever in Lambertville Unified and for Wickland, we received first place at the San Joaquin County Science Invitational Tournament, and it's due to that. And I'd like to invite Coach Kieran up for a few brief words about his scholars and his team and the wonderful work they're doing.
How's everybody doing tonight? Good?
Good, thanks.
You know, I'm not used to this much support. For the first time since I've been coaching Science Olympiad for about 28 years, I had at my tournament here at Wickland, I had a trustee, I had an assistant superintendent, a principal, and 3 assistant principals, and I've never had that much administrative support from any school. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the parents and the students for all their hard work. To give you kind of a picture of what we did at the regional, at San Joaquin was at the University of Pacific. We scored 66 points, and that meant that all of our events, we were in 8th place or higher. It's low score wins. We beat the school that's won the last 17 regional tournaments by 51 points. So that's quite a big deal. And our goal now is be top at states. The top one at the state tournament goes to nationals. We have a few schools in front of us, but we've been improving a lot. And with all their efforts, I think we have a shot at it. And we'll keep plugging away and keep learning. So thank you.
Mr. Kirian, if you don't mind for just 1 second, I wanted to point out something real quick. You came before this board talking about what this group was going to do. You set high expectations, and I just want to say from us, thank you for the work that you put in, the dedication and the hard work, because yes, they work, but I know you work too, and I want to thank you for that and very much appreciate it. Thank you.
I wanted to say something to the Wickland Science Olympiad team because my boys both, came out of Wickland, and I remember going to Science Olympiad competitions after my boys worked their tails off, and there would be 1 or 2 schools that every 3rd medal was going to that school, and I swore to myself one day it would be Wickland, and it is.
I want to thank you guys for believing in our team and stuff, for your support, so thanks.
Thank you. Excellent job again, scholars. Thank you so much. If you may
Thank you,
please have your
students.
seats. Thank you so much. So again, I want to start off with the Science Olympians because they epitomize what we're all about. They support developing a positive school culture at Wickland, and they are all about continuous improvement and learning. So what is our focus at Wickland? Our focus is ensuring we have enlightened, empowered scholars, and everything that we do is to reach that. That is the centerpiece of our board's strategic plan, and we work hard each and every day to achieve that. And how are we going to achieve that focus? We're going to achieve that focus, of course, by implementing the strategic plan, but by also making sure we focus in on the 18 LUSD initiatives that were started last year, and we are institutionalizing and implementing this year. How will we go about that, I think, is more important than what we're after right now, because how we're going to go about that is developing a positive school culture, which we're going to share with you briefly how we've been going into that, and how we've been focusing on continuous improvement and learning. Because this is what we're after. All of our scholars learning and succeeding at high levels, our Science Olympiads, just showing you what we can do when we put our minds to it. So going into developing a positive school culture at Wickland, all schools have cultures. Ours is developing a positive school culture, focusing on learning, focusing on doing our best, focusing on teamwork and supporting ourselves. At this point, I'd like to invite our ASB board president, our ASB president and vice president, Katie Flanagan and Jenna Nilsson, to come on up, please, along with our ASB advisor, Ms. Shirley Hendricks, and they're going to present this slide.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak before you this evening. And I'm going to step out of the way because ASB is not about me. It's about them. So Katie and Jenna, it's all you.
So before we start, I'd love to congratulate our Science Olympiad for doing such a great job. I'm super proud of them and wish them the best of luck at Nationals. Oh, states, not nationals, but they'll get there anyways.
We'll do it. It'll happen.
They'll get there.
Yeah,
On to ASB-related activities. First off with our dances. We have had a startling outcome of students interested in coming in this past year. For years, we have had to cancel dances due to low student interest, but this year we have had amazing turnouts. This includes the district dance, which had students come from all the schools in our district. We had an amazing DJ who has played great music, brought a super cool photo booth, and amazing lights. This year we made an all-new effort to get students' feedback by using a survey to find out what the students really want and then deliver it to them. We wanted to really focus on giving kids a voice and choice.
So on the slide, you can see Dr. Seuss, the Dr. Seuss characters, Thing 1 and Thing 2. And some of our students. These are examples of our school spirit weeks. We have done these for years and have continued building spirits with them this year. We traditionally hold 2 spirit weeks, one during Red Ribbon Week and the other at the end of October and another during Read Across America Week. This year we plan on holding a 3rd week right before spring break to kick off vacation and get students motivated for the upcoming state assessments. We're keeping it positive at Wickland. ASB has been building spirit not only with dress days, but also with a new school-wide cheer, beach out days, and the development of a school dance routine. One of our beach out challenges is Friendly High Five Friday, in order to build spirit and have a fun activity on our school. I heard someone recognize that, yep. It consists of each student high-fiving 5 students they do not normally talk to. This brings school unity and promises talking to people outside your social group. We also hope that reaching out to new friends help build a pro-friend atmosphere that will help combat bullying.
Inspired by our Leadership Day at Mountain House High School, ASB has been working on perfecting a cheer and dance for our school. Our dance has yet to be released, but our chant has started to be taught in the assemblies. Last month, all students K through 8 learned the chant, and we hope to keep it spreading. We wanted to create and continue some new traditions that keep our Wildcats connected to one another.
Assemblies are a traditional Wickland activity where we present students awards for our character pillars, reading AR, and classroom attendance. These are led by ASB students, and we have once again included our skits from the Drama Club to have a fun way to describe what each pillar means. Bringing the Drama Club into our assemblies involves students who aren't normally part of ASB, and that's what we're about: diversity, inclusion, and unity. Another way we reward students with good behavior is with positive referrals. Teachers observe their students as required every day. If they see particularly good actions from a student, they inform the office. Students are awarded with a certificate stating their name, teacher, and principal's signature along with another prize. This promotes good behavior in and out of classrooms.
This trimester, we are bringing back our Soul Shop Peace Path. A few years ago, we had a Peace Path to help work out playground problems among our younger students who may not have had the skills to work them out themselves. This path includes footprints to stand on and words to start out the apology, with fill in the blanks to leave room for each individual problem. ASB hopes to achieve a more peaceful community while giving our younger students the tools to solve their own problems. This is a student-centered and student-led activity that also supports the anti-bullying efforts on our campus. ASB has also kept up the tradition of Turkey Trot, a school-wide fundraiser that helps out our classes. This fundraiser consists of students finding sponsors to sponsor them, and in return they trot as much as they can around the school fields. ASB makes this more fun by playing music for the students to listen to while exercising.
On top of our exercise, our school also held Recess Rally, which gives our students much needed exercise, promoting healthy living. We also emphasize the importance of healthy eating through a recently added program in which students have a chance to participate in a raffle for a free trip to the salad bar, a free breakfast, or a line cut pass every week. Staff roam the multi-purpose room during all lunches and look for people that have a lunch containing healthy foods. That student is rewarded with a ticket. The student writes their name on the ticket and places it in whichever bin they want. One ticket from each bin is chosen every Monday and mentioned on the morning announcements. The winning students go to the office and claim their winnings.
The best part about all these activities is that they are student-planned and student-led. All of the dances, spirit weeks, and assemblies have been planned by ASB students from the 4th through 8th grade. We brainstorm, plan, and implement together to create a more positive, peaceful, and unified school. I am going to require the support of some of our Wickland Science Olympiad students. Most of you should know this and know you do not have a choice. So we are going to show you the student chant that we have been working on. Dance.
All of you?
All that clinking.
Yeah? Okay, good.
We would like to credit Mountain House High School before we start our chant for giving us the inspiration to create this. It is based off of one of their chants, and we are proud to have changed it into our own. Jenna, would you like to help me start?
Okay.
Or I'll start. Okay. Ready, Wildcats? Yeah. Awesome.
Are you
Great.
ready,
Wildcats? Yeah. You can tell us it's going to be great. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Clap your hands. Get loud. Show you're proud to be a Wildcat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
And I probably slurred my words a little because I got this expander in my mouth and it's hard to talk.
Thank you for sharing.
Apples and trees.
Oh, you said that exactly right. Apples and trees.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you both very much for the presentation.
Thanks again.
Interrupt
Thank you again, ASB. I don't know how I top that one with the expander, so we'll see how we do.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you hold this?
I want to interrupt again because it's
Go ahead.
what us Nielsen's do. Ms. Hendricks, I know you took over late in the year, and there was a whole lot of adjustments that you had to make. Your group is small but mighty. A lot of that is thanks to you, and as a father of one of your students and a board member here, seeing the work that you put in. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it.
I just wanted to say that someone should really help that girl come out of her shell.
Well, I know.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. The next slide we have up is positive behavior interventions and support. Two things I wanted to focus on is the positive referrals, which ASB already went over. It's a really good program. Usually referrals kind of scare children, and this is the way to get them to come to the office and to know the office is a very welcoming and safe place where we want to acknowledge their accomplishments. So the teachers send up their names, and Mr. Gonzalez then has them in their office. He gives them a certificate. He calls home. He says it over the loudspeaker, really makes a big deal about it and all of their hard work, and then they're able to get a prize as well. So that's a great way to reinforce the positive things that the students are doing. Another thing is our Student of the Month assemblies. We honor every month one of the 6 pillars of character that Lambertsville has adopted, and the kids really get into it. They get, at the assembly, they get a certificate, and they also get a food token for a free meal at Texas Roadhouse, which they really enjoy. So it also helps us partner with the local communities with the food tokens and being partners with them. So we're doing a lot to really bring in positive behavior to our school.
And what does WOW stand for? The WOW ticket?
Wickland Outstanding Wildcat. And so now on to our parents as partners. We have a wonderful school foundation that does wonders for our school community, for both our teachers as well as our scholars, and Ms. Quintana is going to go into that in more detail. But as far as reaching out to parents, earlier in the year, we sent out a parent survey to all of our parents, asking them about how can we increase communication and collaboration and opportunities for you to be part of the school. And of that, it was loud and clear that email definitely was the preferred mode of communication amongst the parents. So we definitely went with that. But there was also discussion, talk about having an updated website, which we were already in the works on, so that was great to hear. A Wickland Facebook page, which we're having conversations with WSF on how we might want to merge one with theirs or not, as well as the use of the Entopia app. And I'll be starting shortly monthly principal talks as well to reach out more and have opportunities to meet with the parents, hear their concerns, hear what they like to see at the school site.
I've been at a few schools and I've never seen a program where the parents are involved as much as they are here at Wickland. One of the things I want to highlight is the Wickland School Foundation, WSF. This group of parents is an amazing group of parents. They do not just work during the day, they come to their second job, which is helping support Wickland, and they do it nightly. They do a fabulous job at it. A few of the things that they help support are highlighted up here. The first one is Art on Wheels. So they fully fund our Art on Wheels program, and this program is parents that donate their time and their art docents within our classrooms. They have a few carts that they push around, and they do art with the classrooms, and it's amazing. The work that they've produced is very nice. We have a few pictures up there. The second one is Science Olympiad, which we've already got into, but they've helped support that behind the scenes. We had the first invitational here on February 7th at Wickland. It was a huge turnout. Multiple schools, over 500 individuals came to this event, and WSF really helped support this. They got the food vendors and really helped put it out to the public so that they would come. So great job on that. The next one is the Teacher Appreciation Breakfast. The first Friday of every month, they hold a breakfast, and they invite parents and also teachers to come and talk in the morning and really make a bond together. And it's a wonderful thing that they have before school starts that first Friday of every month. They've also given over $1,000 per grade level to help support field trips, and they have enrichment requests, and they have given over $18,000 back just since October to our site to help support things. For example, for Science Olympiad, they've purchased all the t-shirts. For Academic Pentathlon, Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad, they help really support and keep those programs going. They're a great group and very, very supportive.
And then finally, celebrating success. This is extremely important because we wouldn't be where we are without our parent partners, our wonderful teachers, and community. And we celebrate our teachers for everything that they do to work hard each and every day to ensure that all of our scholars learn and succeed. So we have a couple things to acknowledge our staff in public ways. We have our shout out board, which is in our staff lounge, and any staff member can give a shout out to another staff member for something that they did for them, something that they helped them out with, or just a simple acknowledgement. We also have in our staff lounge the drops in their bucket, and you'll see the slide up there with the umbrella on the beach and the bucket, and in there are drops. And staff members can go grab those. They can write a drop or a positive acknowledgement to that staff member and leave that with the staff member in their mailbox or give it to them. So it's a way to celebrate all of our hard work and dedication. And at every meeting, whether it's a site collaboration meeting, staff meeting, we always begin every meeting with positive acknowledgments and celebrations. Sometimes we're a couple minutes in, sometimes it may be 5-7 minutes, but we're celebrating each other for supporting one another in the work that we do to support our scholars. So it's all about that, because without our staff, without celebrating each other, then it's going to be hard for us to really achieve what we're after, which is positive school culture, but really focusing on learning together and supporting our wonderful scholars. So focusing on continuous improvement, that's the next theme that runs through that we're really focused in on. As Ms. Quintana and I came into the school, we talked about a lot of things that we'd like to see implemented, and one of the things that we talked about was really making sure we have a school culture focused on continuous improvement, but also continuous learning for both staff as well as our scholars. So now we'll briefly go into our map data. This slide here shows our map data, with black being our fall data and yellow or gold being our winter data. And as you can see, we have a positive trend line from each of the grade levels. So we've had growth, or RIT growth, across all of the grade levels, which is encouraging. When we compare that to the national RIT scores for winter, so these national across the nation, here's how our grade levels compare. Anything in red would be below the national mean RIT. Any grade level that has green would be above. So you see we have some work to do there, and we also have some grade levels that are above it as well. Now talking about our first grade focus on reading at grade level, you see our grade level came in at about 164 RIT points, and the national mean is 170. And fourth grade reading and writing, our grade level came in at 202 points, and the national mean RIT off by 1 point at 203. Now, how do you compare that to our focus areas? So our data shows the following. And these are RIT scores for EL, low income, special education scholars, African American scholars, and Hispanic Latino. Anything in green for that grade level shows we're above our grade level mean, not the national mean, grade level mean. Anything in red shows that we're below. So as this data indicates, we have some work to do to continually improve. And we acknowledge that. We know where we want to get to, but we need to acknowledge where we're at in order to get there. Our math data. Here's the data for kindergarten through 8th grade. Again, black being fall, gold being winter. Again, there's a positive trend line for the winter data. And how do we compare to the national mean RIT scores for winter scores? Now we have one more grade level added to that. That's in green, kindergarten, that's above the national mean. And we have several that are below in red. Comparing 8th grade algebra, we are above the mean in 8th grade algebra at 243 points, and we're also above what we compare district-wide as well. So we have a lot of great things going on in our algebra program currently that we're continually expanding upon. Now, how do we compare to, or how does this data compare to our focus areas? And again, for each of those focus areas, you see the data there. You'll see more red in math. However, like I shared earlier in the last slide, we know where we're at currently, but what are we doing to continuously improve, both as a staff, so our scholars are able to learn and succeed, and that's what we'll discuss next. So we do something, it's a district initiative, walking and talking instruction, where we are working with our staff in collaborative ways to improve the instruction that goes on in the classroom each and every day. If we can improve the quality of instruction each and every day, student learning is going to accelerate and then take off. So we go through a process where we work with our site leadership team, or PAC, where we analyze monthly data on staff implementation of standards and measurable objectives, or SMOs, and active engagement strategies. And Ms. Quintana is going to take you through the process of the data analysis that we went through. But in a nutshell, we walked through all the classes. We just started this in January, where Ms. Quintana and I walked through every single class, collected data, and then we analyzed the data with our PAC team in the following process outlined there, where we conducted the walkthroughs, we analyzed the data, we determined our SMART goals. What is it that we want to achieve for the next walkthrough? We then determined the professional learning plan for our staff. We shared it with staff, and then we implement the plan, and then we work to support one another with improvements for the next year. And Ms. Quintana is going to take us through the data with regards to this process to improve instruction that takes place each and every day in our classrooms.
So on the left-hand side, you can see where it says standards of measurable objective. The black is our baseline data. We went through in January. We went through January 21st to 23rd. Mr. Gonzalez and I walked all of the classrooms, like he said, to gather our baseline data, and we rated it on the three, the bridging, expanding, and the emerging. You can see that there was 24% in bridging, 59% in expanding, and 17% in emerging. And the yellow then is when we walk the next month. So we walked February 25th through March the 3rd, and that's represented in the yellow. And as you can see, we grew a ton. So bridging went from 24 to 56, which is a great climb, and that's where we want to see. Expanding went down from 59 to 38, which is okay because some of those moved over to bridging, which is where we want them to go. And emerging went down from 17 to 6%. So we were happy with those. With the PAC team, we then came up with SMART goals, and what we want is 75% to be in bridging, 20% to be in expanding, and 5% to be in emerging at the lowest. Of course, it would be great to have 100% all the way over in the bridging, but these are the goals we've created at this point. We did the same thing for active student engagement when we walked all the classes. Again, the black is our baseline data, and we did that January 21st through 23rd. And then we went back through the next month in February, and that is represented in the yellow. So you can see we went slightly down in bridging, but we made a huge climb in expanding. So that's what we want to see, is that everybody's moved hopefully more over to the left as much as possible. We also then met with the PAC team, and we came up with our SMART goals for those. So for bridging, it's 70%. For expanding, our goal was 25%, and again, emerging was 5%. And we created those goals with our PAC team, and then we've shared that with staff at our staff meetings, along with all the results from our walking and talking instruction.
In response to our data, Ms. Quintana, I have implemented something at Wickland called grade level assessment meetings, or GLAMs, and we're recently wrapping up our first round of GLAMs, where our teachers, including Mrs. Quintana and myself, are working to analyze our achievement data, working to discuss what's working and what's not, working to make improvements. And I'd like to actually bring up our 5th, 6th grade combination teacher, Ms. Elaine Volmer, and to have her share a teacher perspective, because she just recently went through the GLAM process herself.
Good evening. As he mentioned, I just did this on Monday, met with my team. For me, it was a great growing experience. I was able to meet with not only just my team and collaborate, but with also our principals. We were in our meeting, we're able to go over our SMOs. How do we do it how do we do it similarly, or how do we do it differently, and what works for us and what doesn't work? We were able to go over different tactics for student engagement in the classroom. Again, what's worked for us, and for them to share knowledge with us, what they've done over the years. It's definitely a fantastic opportunity for all of us to come together as educators and share in a small environment. I know sometimes it's hard for us all to share when we're in a staff meeting with 30 or 40 people, whereas in a small group we can have a bigger opportunity to share. We also went over plans for strategic grouping and scheduling, and how can we reach those children that need interventions. So it definitely was a growing experience for everyone on our team. And
So was your team both of your grade levels?
I met with 5th, and then I had wanted to meet with 6th as well today, but due to sub problems, that didn't happen. But yes, it was meant to be both. So, but I have a great opportunity pretty frequently to meet with my 6th grade team, so I can catch up with them. Did you want me to keep going? Sure. Okay. Along with that, I wanted to share with you RCD, because the rigorous curriculum design teams, that was something that really drew me to Lammersville. I'm new to Lammersville this year, and I'm really excited to be joining that team. As a teacher, have been experiencing what they've already put together, and I've experienced it with 5th and with 6th, and been able to integrate them together often with both grades. I believe because we have recruited so many talented educators that have found a way to implement hands-on activities that really get kids in there using real life skills and research, and using the technology that they're going to be needing throughout their lives ahead. And I've really enjoyed that experience and look forward to it. I think it's great that they're able even to use the curriculum that Lammersville already has, and integrate it into their RCD unit. So I just wanted to share with you my positive experience with that. I know the teams that I've been fortunate to have given my students really exciting things, from planning camping trips, which, I kind of got them to plan my summer plans for me, to creating a board game, about fractions. So a lot of really fun activities, to what would it be like to live forever. So I'm really enjoying this, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elaine. I appreciate that. And to add to the RCD, or rigorous curriculum design, we have in our middle school program several teachers who are piloting in a one-to-one learning environment now, Canvas learning for our scholars at both math, and we have one of our teachers doing that for English language arts as well. And the initial conversations coming out from them is it's really good stuff, and they're seeing the benefit of it, and they're seeing our scholars are learning and succeeding. So next to discuss how are we also providing strategic support and interventions to our scholars who need additional learning opportunities, so we continuously improve learning opportunities for them.
In order to continuously improve, we do need to have strategic support and interventions for the students that need it. So Wickland offers that in numerous ways. We have workshops. Another way is our DIG. In grades K through 5, they have DIG time. And in our middle school 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they get their time during elective, whether it's math support or whether it's ELA support. We also have Compass Learning. We have before and after school interventions, and we also have Homework Club for our middle school students that need it after school every day. Looking into next year, one thing we're really excited about is the enrichment and intervention block that we're hoping to add to our schedule. So students will not just have that elective time at the end of the day, they'll also have another period added in where they can have additional support if they need it to really help our scholars be the best that they can be at Wickland.
And finally, we'd like to conclude our presentation with this quote here from Richard Dufour and Michael Fullen, as it encapsulates really what we're all about. One of the first meetings I have had with the staff, and it still rings true, is we're going to develop a leader-leader culture at our site. Not a leader-follower, but a leader-leader culture where we all support one another to be successful, but we are responsible for making the person next to us or that we work with on our team even better, so we're all successful. And we're going to go about that as we've shared through our positive school culture that we're building, as well as our focus on continuous learning and improvement. So with that, we appreciate the time to speak to you about all the work that we're doing with Wickland. Please feel free to come on by at any time, see all the great things that we're doing, and if you have any questions, we'll answer it at this time. For our Science Olympiads, I think you might need to leave soon because you have to prep for a state. And the multi-use room is still open, I believe, for your calibrations. But if you have homework to do, definitely make sure we get home in time to do that. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate the time.
Before all of your scholars leave, I do want to say thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you for working so hard. And for the parents, thank you for the support. And your students would not be where they're at without everything great that you've done to support them. So thank you very much. And board member.
May I also add to the Science Olympiad of Wickland? I know that you guys put a lot of work into this because, you know, I did Science Olympiad too. And I'd just like to say, for all you 8th graders in the audience, when you go to Mountain House High, make sure you join our Science Olympiad team too, because we need that skill. As academics commissioner.
We've got a couple board comments for you.
Yeah, I have one quick question. When you do your walkthroughs, your data collection, what specifically are you looking for under the SMOs and the active engagement? Because is it all observation? You're like ticking things off?
Yeah, we have a common walkthrough tool that we've utilized that we've calibrated as site administrators. We've taken through to LTA. We've piloted. And then when we walk in, we have the 3 categories, bridging, expanding, and emerging. And we are observing, based off of this recording sheet, evidence. So for SMOs, is the instruction that we see aligned to a Common Core State Standard? And does that SMO have a verb, a noun, and a product? Has it been articulated to the scholars? Can they articulate back to us when we ask them questions? What are you learning? You know, right now we are graphing parabolas and graphing functions, and we're going to ask them, well, how are you going to show it? And they're able to articulate to us, because their teachers articulate to them, oh, we're going to show it on X product or this quiz or that. So they're able to articulate that. That shows that they are now really focused and engaged on it. As far as active student engagement, we really look at, and we've been discussing this extensively as a staff, what we call time on task. So if we walk into a classroom of 32 kids, and the form shows we're looking at, for the bridging level, at least 90 to 100% of the scholars are engaged, we do a quick count. 10% is 3 kids. So we should have no more than 3 kids not engaged. And then we watch all the strategies that the teacher does in order to make a decision.
Great. So thank you for practicing the Common Core with them, with your questioning techniques.
You're welcome.
Dr. Gill, you want to?
I just want to clarify and share that since they just said they have high expectations of themselves and the Wildcats, they're comparing themselves with the end of the year norm scores, not winter. So we have compared them already. They're actually above the winter in all of the categories, especially all of the grade levels. But because of they have high expectations of themselves, that's what they're doing to themselves. So most of their, if you see their numbers, they're going to be all green actually, but they're already looking at themselves for the end of the school year.
Thank you for that, because you're not far off. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So you may have shown us a lot of red, but you're not far off, and I'm confident. You make me very proud to live in Wickland.
Thank you.
Just thank you very much. I know first year for both of you at the school, it's been a big transition, and we appreciate everything you're doing. The climate has changed. It's, a lot of great positive things going. And for both sites, I just want to say, education is in a state of flux, and this district has definitely risen to the challenge. And positive school climate, wonderful test scores, and you guys are definitely rising to the challenge and more. So thank you very much for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Questions?
Our students are very impressive. I work in education, and how poised and how they can present themselves, especially the students that got up and spoke
Absolutely.
by themselves at that grade level. Very impressive. Keep up the great work.
I know I'm the new guy, so I have to ask, was I like the only board member that didn't know that those scores were comparing to year end instead of?
No, not until Cush said that. I didn't
You
know
did?
that.
No. Oh, okay. Because thank you, Dr. Cush. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the report. And at this time, if the students and parents would like to go, please feel free.
Thank you.
You can stay if you want, but
Thank you.
We're going to talk about music.
Jeb, yes.
No, they were, yeah. Yes. Oh, he's setting the bar where it should be. It's great.
Now that I know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know where she gets it. I have no idea where she gets it.
I knew the scores were good. Okay, item B is the enrollment report. Anything?
So I'm proud to announce that the district over the last 3 enrollment reports is up over 50 kids. We have 3,552 students.
What was your number, Matt? 4? What are we working on? The goal for next year was 4? Isn't that the standing number we're looking at?
The bet was
The bet? Okay.
Item C, district music program expansion plan. Dr. Gill.
Good evening, Governing Board, Mr. President, and Dr. Nicholas. My presentation is not even close to as fun as theirs. I kind of feel bad. I should have gone first, get it over with. But I am very proud to say that I'm part of this team, because anytime we go to the county office or anywhere, we are glowing like crazy. People last year used to say, or 2 years, 3 years ago, used to say, where is Lambertsville? We were literally top in the entire county in science fair this year. They had like 9, 10 winners, and more than 50% of them from ours. We had kids going to the state science fair this year. Science Olympiad is amazing. We have definitely put ourselves on the map, and a lot more to come. But we feel so proud. They're kind of jealous of us. They ask us, what do you guys do? What do you guys feed them? That they're coming first in every single thing. So it's really, really
It goes
great.
without saying that we recognize that we would not be where we're at without your leadership. So thank you very much for everything you've done over the years for science.
Thank you. Thank you, but it goes to the kids. It's amazing. Thank you very much. I am honored to have Mrs. Robertson join me, our wonderful music teacher. We have 3 music teachers. We're hoping to expand our music team to 5, hopefully next school year. This is one of the projects our GATE Music and Art Committee has been working on. As you are aware that through our strategic plan, 2 years ago. This is something that came very loud and clear from our committee and our parents and community, that we would like to expand our music and art program and provide a quality program in GATE as well. We're going to continue working on those. Typically, you have GATE heated debates with Dr. Nicholas regarding the GATE program as we are defining what our GATE program should look like. But we are on consensus as to where we should start as we grow next year with our music program. So Ms. Robertson is going to briefly talk about what our current program looks like, and then I'm going to talk about where we are going to expand it next year.
Oh, nice to use the, okay, this one is different. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kathy Robertson. I'm in my 10th year of teaching music here in the district, and I am very excited to be before you. 4 short years ago, I stood before this board and had to face the fact that music was going to be totally eliminated from the district. And now we were proud to say that we're going to be expanding. I have to thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart, and I speak for my colleagues, that you have kept music alive through the rough times that we went through in past years. So thank you very, very much. I'm very excited to help Dr. Gill with this presentation. The current music offerings here at Lambersville Unified include general music courses once a week for grades 1 through 4. We previously had kindergarten. Beginning band is twice a week, 30 minutes twice a week, as a pull-out program from 5th through 8th graders. Choir is twice a week. It used to be 4 days a week. It's only 30 minutes. It used to be 45 minutes. As a pull-out program for 5th through 8th graders. Advanced band is held 4 times a week at actually 3 of the schools, yes, of the 5 elementary schools, 3 times a week at one school and 2 times per week at another. The existing music teaching staff is myself, Kathy Robertson, at Wickland. I teach general music, beginning band, choir, and advanced band. And I also teach at Lambersville, general music, beginning / advanced band. They're combined this year, and choir. And at Altamont, I only teach general music. Susan Heinrich is a new hire as of October 27th, and she quickly came in and has taken the helm at Cuesta and Bethany, teaching general music, beginning band, choir, and advanced band. She's doing an awesome job. Troy Rexell, you may know, is our trophy winner at the high school. He's added trophies to the case. He has done an amazing job at our brand new high school. He hit the ground running. He teaches 4 classes at the high school, including drama, and then he teaches an equivalent of 2 periods at Altamont in the afternoon that consist of beginning band, choir, and advanced band. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Robertson. So I'm sure if you drove by the high school this past Saturday, it was one of the most amazing things I have ever seen in this area, not alone in Mountain House. I have never seen that many trucks and that many people and that many band, kids practicing. And we are very sure that will be coming in future as well, because that's just the beginning. So in order for that to make it happen, and because it was a competition and we do not like to be second or third, we like to be first in every single thing. In order for us to make that happen, we are going to start with our programs starting 2015-16 with 2 additional teachers, starting music program K4 once a week. This is where we're going to make a difference. Currently, we have a pull-out program for 5th grade only twice a week. We are going to be offering band, beginning band, twice a week to all 5th graders. That's where we are going to really pump those kids up and really get them interested at a young age and make a difference and make our teams, and when they go to the high school and middle school, the top. When I say the top, I say number 1, and I really mean it. And on top of that, 6th through 8th grade, we will also be offering 40 minutes of choir 4 days a week. Our goal is, I'm sure you heard Wickland talking about enrichment and intervention time. Our goal is to have that happen at that time. Our goal really is to really get rid of all pullouts as possible. So some school sites, if they're unable to do that type of period, which they can do enrichment and intervention, we are working on that with all of the school sites possibly. But if that is not possible, but at least we will try to do that. But our goal would be not to make it a pull-out, to offer choir during intervention and enrichment time. So the students who would like choir to be their enrichment period, then that will be their period, so they wouldn't be missing any core instruction. And finally, 4 days a week at every single school, all 5 of the schools, thanks to Mr. Roxell, because he is coming from the high school in order for us to make that happen. So he will be coming to one of the elementary, one of the K schools for 4 days a week. Every single school site for 45 minutes a day or so will have the advanced band at all of the K-5 schools. So those will be the opportunities we will be providing. And eventually, hopefully, if we get more dollars, we might be able to expand even more. But that's what our goal is to, with your support and with Dr. Nicholas's guidance, to start the program there next year. And each of the school teachers will be at a specific school site in the afternoon. Morning time, they will be traveling. And we're calling them traveling troubadours. So, and I'm sure as the next year will come, you will be listening to those students performing, and we will share the updates with you as we implement the program.
Any questions?
Questions?
Well, while we love seeing students, thank you for not bringing the percussion group into here.
Speak for yourself.
They're really enthusiastic.
It would be a little loud in here.
I just want to add, it's not so much about this, or just it's more of a comment than anything else. It frustrates me that the state doesn't consider art and music as a core program. It is important to the education of all students. It is something that will either inspire some students, lead to their careers,
Definitely.
or just provide them an opportunity for something that will inspire them to go on and do the things they maybe don't enjoy doing. I hate that we call it pull-out. I hate that we don't call it core, because the state does. It's important. That's why we kept it all those years when it was tough, because it is a vital important part of a student's instruction, and I'm glad to see this expansion program, and I hope to see this on an agenda real soon.
And all research will show the connection to what the state does consider as core academic subjects that music and visual and performing arts assists with.
Yes, definitely. There's no doubt. That's why our goal is to not make it anything pull out. I mean, that will be our goal. We'll eventually achieve it, if not the next year. Yes.
I'd like to ask, I may sound like a broken record, because every time someone gives a presentation about music, I always ask about this, but are there any future plans for strings? Because I see choir and advanced band, and this is great progress, but in the future.
Ms. Robertson, do you want to answer that?
Well, Hassas was a beginning violinist with me back.
I am biased.
And she still plays. Okay. Strings will be offered in the future. We just need more staff members, and they would join the traveling troubadour team and travel from school to school. And hopefully, we can offer it as an elective for the advanced students, and that way there would be. I would like to see choir, advanced band, and strings, advanced strings be electives eventually, and then that would just take more music teacher staff members.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you, Pessa. Any other questions?
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Gill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Ms. Kaiser.
I feel as though we're still reactive with some of these maintenance needs. We've been generating a list of items that have been needing repair. We have started on Wickland. I excitedly drove by there yesterday, thought I would take some pictures, thinking I would see some difference. Jim mentioned that the irrigation was taking place. He was getting a report tomorrow, but to the eye, I couldn't see anything. But they are working on it. The signs are going to be placed on the sites at Mountain House by Friday, the ones with the penal codes. Sad to report that the raccoons have reappeared at Bethany, so we will need to get those taken care of. We will need to replenish our deferred maintenance account between the carpeting, some of the roofing repairs, HVAC repairs at the older sites. We have emptied the account. So I will be making recommendations to increase those contributions. There is a need to do the pavement at Wickland and Lammersville, so we will definitely be pursuing some competitive bids probably in a couple of months. And Jim Nolan has been working on warranty issues for both Mountain House High School and Altamont.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about those warranty issues, maybe in future.
Will do. We can come up with a
Even,
list.
even as an information item, I'm just kind of would like to, especially
I know
with,
it's HVAC and carpeting is the two that I've just heard of recently.
okay, especially with potential, bids on future school construction projects.
Yes.
I'd really like to know where we're at.
I will gather that for the next meeting.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Committee reports, item A is a facility use committee. Trustee Nielsen and I, along with Alvina and the rest of the committee, met on Monday, the 9th. Two action items came before the committee. The first was use of a classroom during summer hours, which, as the board knows, we said that we would not be allowing access for that. That item was actually tabled to get a little more information. We had a bunch of questions that we never really clear answers, so it's coming back to us at a future date. And then the second was a Performance Academy request to use Altamont School, which we also made a policy that we would not allow to use during the first year. So the committee agreed that with no other information, extenuating circumstances or anything like that, we went ahead and we denied that request, which is in line with the policy. I want to let the board know that there was an organization that spoke out. They were affected by the field repairs that were just kind of discussed. We were able to accommodate that group, and they're happy with those accommodations. It seems that there was some confusion with the policy as far as reservations. When an organization, just to clarify for our board, since we made the policy, that when an organization reserves a field, they get the whole field. So as far as baseball is concerned with the school, if they reserve a baseball field at Wickland School, they get all of them. That's the policy. So the $5 an hour covers the whole field. And as a discussion with the committee, what we decided was we would go forward with that, understanding that as more organizations come online, we might have to come back and revisit it if we're going to split them up. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. There's 3 items coming to the board tonight, and amendment number 2 based on discussion from our meeting, which we'll talk about later. And our next meeting is on Monday, April 27th at 6:30. And I also would like if Ms. Kaiser can give us a quick report on staff hours being spent for facility use.
Obviously, Lori Robertson spends the most time, and we average probably about 4 hours a day from January to now. When school first started, she was spending a good 6 hours average per day. My time and James Nolan's time is probably averaging 4 to 5 hours per week, reviewing applications, reviewing the handbook, with him scheduling custodians to work, events. It was quite an eye-opener once we opened up the high school too. How many organizations? There's probably 300 applications that have been processed since school started.
I just want the board to, pay particular attention to that. We'll monitor this as we go, but half of Lori's time is spent working on facility use stuff, which is not really even in our purview. I mean, it's not an education institution's responsibility to be doing facility use like we do. So we need to monitor this is my point. And as a committee and as a board, we need to monitor it closely, and that number has to decrease. We can't keep up at this pace. I think I feel it's an improper use of staff time. So more discussion on that to come. And that concludes my report for facility use.
I could add, Mr. Balzerini.
Please.
I also wanted to personally thank you for your patience at the meeting. There were some impatient individuals at the meeting who were rather heated, I think would be a fair way to put it, and maybe not reasonable in their reactions to what we were doing. And I thought you showed a great amount of restraint in your responses until you finally did have to set someone straight. But I just wanted to say that I appreciated it, that it was, for me to swallow my tongue and not say anything was tough, and that you finally did it probably prevented me from embarrassing myself. So I'm just going to thank you for that.
I'll embarrass myself anytime, thank you.
Oh, you didn't embarrass yourself. I'd have gone way farther. That's what I'm saying. And just as an opportunity for future discussion and a question, would it be possible to consider either additional fees or substantive fees to hire a part-time person just to do this? I mean, or is that what we're going to end up needing? Is this going to be something that going into the future, 3 or 4 hours a week, a day of someone's time is going to continue to be spent on this? And could we utilize the fees that we're generating, find a way to increase them, or the application fee to try to cover some part of that? If that's where we're going to be, let's get staff doing the job they're hired to do and hire someone who might be able to do this job on a part-time basis.
So Alvina and I actually had that conversation last week as an idea, because it's, you know, is it new or is this what it's going to be?
Exactly.
And that's what we've got to really get to.
And hopefully the software will reduce some of that.
Even with the software, because we actually are implementing the software behind the scenes to even perform the calculations for us, but there's still a review of the information that's being entered. There's still a review of the insurance policy dates, of the information they're entering, the number of individuals they say are participating in the event, accuracy, the type of information, the setting up for the event. All that still needs to be reviewed. It's not, the software isn't going to do the thinking.
Right. And to something like that, if it does ever get to the point where it's reduced, then it could be someone who might already be a part-time person who just gets an additional stipend for this type of a position. Because in the end, it's not going to go away. You're going to have to provide, someone's going to have to provide a report to the board why people were put in certain categories, why they weren't. That review, as things grow, is going to continue to have to happen, and it's going to take a person, a staff member, to do it. And it's just something, like you said, for future discussion that I would like to see some options on, if possible.
The other reality is it's almost saturated to the point of full saturation. So it may be that this is how much time it's going to take until we have another facility, because the use is, I mean, it's an astronomical amount of time.
I think we're in a unique situation. Most school districts, everybody has facilities use issues, but we are the only game in town, and most boards are not this involved in the process, but we are responding to the community's request. So we have amped it up and professionalized it and gotten more involved than most districts are. So the reporting and stuff doesn't usually happen in other districts. I've never seen reports like this in another district.
And we're having to follow up sometimes after organizations leave the facilities. And, okay, which custodian did the checkout form?
Yeah.
Did they fill it out properly? How did the organization leave the facility? Did they leave a mess? It's not just check in, check out, and it's done. It's not coming out so clean.
Yeah. Well, those pieces happen in a lot of districts, but us amping up our involvement has fallen on staff. So, yeah, I would like us to continue to look at possibilities to relieve some workload.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
And as a committee, we keep hoping that we'll get all the questions answered. But every time you turn around, there's something new, so.
We keep hoping that somebody will build something that.
Missed opportunity. We should have done this before the developers left.
Yeah.
Item B is District Advisory Committee.
Next week.
Next week, okay. Very good.
Our next scheduled meeting is Monday, March 23rd at 6:30.
Thank you. Item C, District English Language Advisory Committee, Clemens and Lempel.
That's also next week.
It's
You have the date?
Wednesday, March 25th, in the old boardroom at Wickland Elementary.
Thank you. Item D, Gate Arts and Music.
The next meeting is April 28th. It's in the district office boardroom.
Okay, thank you. Item E, Safety and Crisis Response. We had our meeting today, well attended. We talked about, we got site reports, what's going on different sites. Everyone's engaging in the fire drills this month. And we also discussed having a large-scale exercise. It's still, haven't decided on a date, but we're talking, just kind of strategizing right now, so more to come on that. Anything further, Dr. Gill? For that? Item F is Wellness.
We had our most recent Wellness Committee meeting on March 11th. We discussed Caught Eating Green or Caught Eating Good, which the young ladies from the Bethany ASB talked about in their presentation, so that seems to be going well. We also discussed the relay recess that was held at all the campuses, and by all reports that I heard, at least, everyone enjoyed that, and the kids enjoy the time out walking and eating something healthy. We also had a presentation by Dr. Gill and Jen Lanza about our farmers market. We, in the past, we paid through a grant that we get through Tracy Hospital. We've been able to pay for farmers markets at all of our campuses, and this year we decided to explore something different, and we're working with Taylor Farms in Tracy, and they appear to be willing to donate produce to make that event more affordable for the district. Would you like to add anything, Dr. Gill?
If they do that, that $10,000 that we have, instead of, because typically we spend about 6, 7, this year it was supposed to be with the high school and Altima, $9,000 for this farmer's market. So we would be able to spend that money on other nutrition-based and PE equipment and other kind of fitness type of activities. So we are looking forward to hopefully arrange with Taylor Farms something in alignment with their testing, so that we feed this fresh fruit, healthy food, nutritious food to the kids before testing, so they do really well on the testing. So we're working on that right now. That's it. Thank you.
The Wellness Committee also continues to work on the district wellness plan. In fact, we've got a most current draft of it in our board packet this evening. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Governing board reports, anything besides committees?
My report in is really an apology, Mr. President. I had committed to going to the legislative action 2 weeks ago, and as I mentioned in the board workshop, my son had emergency surgery, and I didn't make it. And I should have called so that somebody else could go, but I didn't think about it.
That's fine. We had, I did hear back from some of the delegates that went well represented, and our legislators definitely heard all the issues that we're facing. The construction bond was loud and clear from other districts, so we're good. Trustee Nielsen, anything? No.
So I went to the Facilities Use Committee and just watched them restrain themselves. I also had an opportunity last week. I'm not usually around during the day, so I got to see the baseball and softball, and what an awesome turnout. You know, our kids are, they're such good sports. The level of sportsmanship, whether they're winning or losing, never wavers. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't care if they're winning or losing. It's the sportsmanship. It's what they're learning from that experience. And it was definitely there. I did attend the beginning of the percussion competition. I was there to see our students play. It was fabulous. It was so organized. Like Dr. Gill said, this thing was huge. The parking lot was their staging area to get ready, and it was amazing how these groups come in with their own trailers, and they're out there practicing, and it was very impressive. Very, very impressive. I wanted to thank Taylor Farms for donating the produce for our farmers market as I was reading the wellness policy. And has nothing to do with the school district except that they are our team doctors. The chiropractors opened up on Monday, and they are involved in our schools. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the LSF Dinner Dance Auction on Saturday.
Very nice. Anything further for your report?
I don't really have a board report. I just wanted to mention that earlier this evening we had a moment of silence for Sue Graves, and she was an excellent teacher, and her passing was a huge loss to Lambertsville School and the entire district.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. For my report, I was able to also attend the inaugural baseball game at Mount House High School, which was very, very exciting to be there. Yeah, as soon as I walked up, it's just that feel of being at the ball game, and it was really neat to see. Followed by our facilities committee meeting. And then Wednesday, I want to acknowledge the board. We had a board workshop here on Wednesday, and it's so rewarding to come and participate in a positive experience like that. Everyone came prepared, worked hard. We got a lot accomplished, and Dr. Nicholas and I have a nice task list to go and work on. But, I mean, talk about just positive energy, making progress, moving forward. The district is doing as well as it is, and I think that we should be acknowledged. We should commend ourselves, and we should be proud of ourselves, because it was impressive, and I was honored to be there with all of you. So thank you. And then on Friday, Dr. Nicholas and I had the honor of giving our Assemblywoman, Susan Eggman, a escort or a tour of Mountain House High School, and we're able to kind of talk about some of the legislative issues that we have on the table. So,
Your own legislative action day.
yes. So she heard us loud and clear, so just wanted to let you guys know about that. Moving on to action items. Item A is consider approval of the 2015-16 instructional calendar. Staff report.
Just simply said, I'd like to thank staff, Alvina and Cush in particular, and our friends at LTA for working this out. I was worried about this when the school year started, because when you add a high school to a K program, real semesters and real semester start and finishes and finals, it adds a different element to it, and they were able to work out and come to an agreement. So I wanted to thank everybody who participated in that.
I wanted to thank Dr. Nicholas for clarifying for me, because I didn't understand the document in the board package, that it's negotiated with the LTA, but just provided to the CSEA at this point, and I misunderstood that.
Okay. Any board discussion?
Move to approve the 2015-2016 instructional calendar.
And I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I just from a personal perspective, I get that it was negotiated and I get that it was discussed with staff, but I just really find ending a school year on a Friday or a Saturday before Memorial Day weekend doesn't really seem to me to be ideal. I'm going to guess that I don't know what we've heard from parents. I don't know how much we've heard from parents. I don't know if we have heard from parents. I've heard from a few. I just find it may just have been a numbers game and an issue. In the future, I think it's a bad idea to try to set a high school graduation on a Friday or a Saturday before Memorial Day weekend. I feel like it's going to provide less of an opportunity for some parents to come, because while it is a 3-day weekend, it's usually not a 3-day weekend most people are wanting to spend with their kids in a school-based activity. And that's, I may be in the minority on that. I don't know that I am. I just...
Well, there's nothing that ties graduation to the Friday night. In fact, most districts that have this end date, they do it on Thursday night to avoid that conflict. And the kids come to school as, because that last day of school is less than educational.
Yes.
Speak for yourself. We pack it in here in Lambertsville.
So this is this calendar is very common, and graduation ceremonies have not been. I haven't seen too many that fall on Friday, but I'm sure they do. But there are ways to set that up so that there's not a conflict.
I would also just say, though, I'm not a big fan of a Thursday night graduation either. I mean, again, it's just one person's opinion. I do get and appreciate that this is what the teachers and the district staff discussed and negotiated. It's just not something I'm real comfortable with. So,
I have a question, just out of curiosity. For years, this district and our neighboring district where we sent our high school kids had calendars that didn't match up. And a lot of parents didn't like that because it made planning vacations and the like difficult when the kids' calendars don't match up. And now that we are essentially no longer tied to Tracy, we are now aligned with their calendar.
I don't know what the opposite of serendipity means, But that was unintentional. Actually, somebody looked it up today. So I don't know what the opposite of serendipity is, but it's like, oops. But it did just happen to work out that way.
And I for one, assumed that we would continue the how we had done things in the past, and my vacation ends the day before the first day of school this year.
Well, and some of that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of that does have to do with lining up at the end of the semester before Christmas, and so it has to do with the high school.
Yeah.
And, okay, and that's
That's the reality.
Yeah, my understanding was you did that, and then the rest just kind of fell into place based on that.
Right.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is consider approval of indoor environmental services agreement to provide facility energy master plan. Staff report?
If there are any questions, Alvina can answer them.
Thanks. I was prepared to speak. Although it's not normally required to do a competitive bid for energy planning, I actually started this project quite some time ago. I had so many interested parties that a recommendation I had from a fellow CBO was try competitive bidding. So I put out an RFP. I had 5 individuals that submitted a proposal, and Jim Nolan and I reviewed. We put the 5 proposals on the table in the corner there, and did an evaluation on all 5. All of them do not charge. It was kind of hard if you have to choose the lowest, because if they don't charge, how do you select the lowest bidder? Unless you decide to not choose from them. So between reviewing what they had to offer, reviewing what they submitted, calling other CBOs, those that had successful expenditure plans submitted, we end up selecting the IES plan organization. And so that was what we're recommending to you.
Board discussion?
Well, I'll move we approve the environmental services agreement.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'm just curious though, because I see what we're going to do is study what we're doing. And I kind of thought we had done that, or at least preliminarily, when we first talked about the potentials of maybe some additional solar power options and some stuff like that. I'd really like us to try to get some sort of initiative moving in that direction. I'm hoping this is just the first step in trying to do that, and that's really what the plan is behind this.
We did, and I know Dr. Nicholas was all for the solar, and we had initially, I'm trying to remember the name of that company, Chevron. And the
little company.
I believe it was going to be 17 years before we would notice any type of savings for this district to invest into the solar.
That's 17. It starts with a 1, ends with a 7.
Yes, 17
Wow.
years.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
That's what that was the nice way of responding to their proposal. The idea was a district-wide solar carport kind of initiative, where when they came in, the thought was were going to be a great partner, and there was going to be kind of a front loading of a loan, and then we would pay for it with electrical costs, and then by the end we'd own them and get all the cost savings. And they came back with 17 years, and then you'll see some money. So
Because of the paying off
that
and the
didn't,
installation and everything.
yeah, all that stuff.
Okay.
But the bottom line is Trustee Nielsen is right. We need to continue to look into this. That one was just a disappointing first swing.
So this company could help us identify other projects to use with our Prop $39 to help us save earlier.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we can get to more than just, if we change these light bulbs to these light bulbs, those things, while minoring, will help the bottom line overall. We're progressive in a lot of ways. I would love to see us try to find a way to be progressive in some of these.
Yes, and sadly, our district we don't have the free and reduced percentage that would entitle us to reach out for those dollars that would assist us.
And my read of that proposal was that's exactly what they're doing, is doing an evaluation of here's the courses of action that you might want to take, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hoping it's not limited. And it might be something I would be interested in seeing, possibly incorporating maybe some of the students in the high schools or the junior high schools with regard to their science projects and reports, that maybe they could come up with some proposals. The mind of a child to come up with solutions to problems different from adults would be, it's just something I would enjoy seeing, and if nothing else, the creativity of it and working into our curriculum. But in the end, it comes down to, we've got to move away from what we're doing, and if we can't find a way to use the wind or the the wind or the solar power, I do think at some point the state's going to mandate us to go in that direction and not pay for it. So it's better to get ahead of that game. And anyway, I'm looking forward to the report.
Unfunded mandates, really?
No, they don't have it. You're right. I'm sorry.
All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C is consider approval of Comcast Business WAN E-rate service proposal.
I think we should consider the other proposal.
Any staff report?
Single bid.
Okay.
I'll move we approve the Comcast Business E-rate proposal,
Second.
but I do have a few questions, of course. And I don't know who to direct them to, so I'll start with you, Superintendent.
Yes.
Because, anyway, why is Altamont not on the list? Why is Altamont not available? It doesn't seem that it's outside the distance, considering Quest is within the distance.
Altamont and high school are already receiving services because they're new. So this is for these are for the sites that had a contract that expired.
Okay, I misread that. Okay, thank you. Second, I noticed some speed mentions. With regards to that, do we know if those are minimum or maximum speeds? Are we going to get throttled? Do you have any idea on that
I
stuff?
have no idea.
If you want to send me the email on speed and that stuff, I can find it out.
It's just a curiosity. It's not going to change my vote. It's really just the problem you got with Comcast is they'll throttle your speed if they'll promise you maximums, but what's our minimum? And that's really what I'd like to know is if these are minimums, fine. If they're not minimums, I'd like to know what our minimum bandwidth is. And if there's no proposal for that, we need to get it and include it in this.
I know that we
That's
were trying to get
Comcast's MO.
our equipment upgraded at the Wickland and the Bethany sites. And the district office, I believe, was fine. And we're to do the 1 gigabyte. I know Ben Faubert gave me some help with the gigabytes. And we thought by the time this contract expired, we would be needing the 10 gigabytes. And we met with the County Office of Education to check on the bandwidth, and we were doing okay.
Yeah, but
For now.
For now, we're not.
For the next-
We move to a full one-to-one wireless integration within all of our schools within the district. The bandwidth could become a problem.
Yes.
And if you can't promise a minimum bandwidth that are going to get our students online, we're not teaching.
And I think
That
for the
creates a
duration of this contract, we're fine. But by the time we come around to the contract again, we will have to revisit that.
I also think very soon, if not next boarding meeting, the following one, that Albina will be presenting a project we've been working on, she in particular, a tech sustainability plan that maps out a lot of this. I'm not saying that we've anticipated everything, and speed throttling is a new term to me. So
I'm actually
continue to
working on the
evolve.
infrastructure right now.
But we'll present everything that we could think of and what it looks like over time, from the small stuff to the big stuff, so that we can explain how we're going to save money or pay for it.
Wonderful. That was it for me.
I think what Trustee Nielsen is talking about is the kids sitting in front of their Chromebook and the little thing spinning.
Oh, that doesn't happen here.
That wasn't a bandwidth issue.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D is consider approval of second interim budget report for the 2014-15 school year staff report.
Now for the boring stuff.
Numbers.
I love the numbers. I know people are leaving, but I love the numbers. So.
Shane wants you to read the entire report,
How
please.
exciting.
Have lunch with Alvina and just go over it. I did.
Do you remember in 2007-8, I was very embarrassed standing up here after the school sites came up here, gave their report, and I had to talk about the budget cuts. And I made a comment how I felt I had the rain cloud, and Shane came running up to me after the board meeting and said, "It's not you. Don't ever feel it's you that has the black rain clouds. You're just, bearing the news." You made me feel better about that. Thank you.
So I'm here to present, again, a summary of the summary because, as you know, most of this board packet is a lot of numbers. And you have unrestricted and restricted, and I'm going to just tell you that it's a positive certification for the current year and the subsequent 2 fiscal years. And with that, pages 170 through 195 in your packet are the criteria and standards where I have to answer a series of questions, and it does a historical average ratio. And for our district, for the last few years, I've been getting the not mets because of our growth, and this year because of our one-time expenses. And we did have a huge deficit showing up this year, and I did mention we would be showing a deficit because we spent the $1.1 million in Mountain House High School and those instructional costs, and we had some Altamont one-time startup costs. And then here is your summary of the summary. I've combined the two, and it's a comparison of your first interim summary to your second interim and the percentage change between the two reports. The first interim summary ends October 31st. The second interim summary ends January 31st. So even though you're seeing those there now, there's already been some budget revisions that have been taking place. The net increase decrease in fund balance that you see there, the second column towards the bottom, the 1.6 million, that encompasses all those one-time expenses that I just mentioned to you for Mountain House High School. We increased the substitute budget. I think it was in December that we increased the substitute allocations per day. It obviously would decrease the ending fund balance that you see there on the bottom line. This is the ending fund balance. I know sometimes that's not really showing you a comparison between first interim and second interim, but as I explained to Dr. Nicholas, I wanted to point out a few of those funds there. Fund 40 capital facilities, that shows $30,000. My recommendation to you when we develop our budget is to add the track turf replacement fund that we're going to be needing to do in 10 years and transferring from general fund $125,000 per year into that fund because we're going to need to replace that in 10 years.
Yep.
And we're also finding at the high school, those floors in the gyms are also going to need to be stripped, and that may be costing us some money too. Jim's looking at hopefully finding some better prices than the $83,000 he heard about last week. So
is that a maintenance issue or is that a repair
that's what
issue?
he's trying to find out. So I'm hoping that he's going to find that that is not what it's going to be costing us in 8 years when those need to be.
Yeah, and if it is something that they're recommending as maintenance and that wasn't in our original proposal, I'd like to talk to someone about that.
So he's working behind the scenes on that. So it'll be interesting to see what he finds out.
And along with that's another reason why the facility use committee, we've asked for reports on how much, the amount of use
Wear and tear.
that our facility is receiving. And the report that came to the committee on Monday was astounding. I mean, yeah.
So I know when I had given a report a couple of weeks ago, we don't want people to confuse general fund with the building of schools. We have the Fund 49 capital projects. Those are where all the Melrose dollars are being collected into the Bank of New York. The Fund 52 are where the Melrose taxes are collected that pay down the debt service payments that are paid out semi-annually. Fund 67, self-insurance, is the retiree fund that Lammersville School District has negotiated with the teachers union. When they're within with the district so many years and they retire at a certain age, they get a percentage of the benefit cap in this district. So we contribute funds into that every month to pay for those individuals when they're, I think, 15 years that they're here within the district. So, I mean, it's important that you plan ahead for those expenses. And I did want to make a note that we are contributing $185,000 per year into that fund. And first line there, cash flow, you're required to know that we will have an ending cash balance of $2 million on June 30th. We will be providing to you the LCAP plan. We're required by law to revise and approve it by June 30th. And we'll have to focus on the 8 state priorities for all students. And you're aware of those 8 priorities, and Dr. Cushwinder-Gill is aware of those 8
priorities.
Alvina, going back just a moment, if I could interrupt, that 2.02 million is what percentage about?
Well, the budget is about $24 million, so percent, yeah. It's about 1%, yeah.
Thank you.
Which wouldn't be, I think our payroll is like $1.2 million per month, so. Cash flow is much better this time with the state budget. Supplemental concentration grant funds are to improve services for eligible. We are not eligible for concentration grant. We only get supplemental funding. And then Cushwinder, Gill, and I need to work on the draft when that will be presented to you. Likely it will be in May. I kind of follow the same timeline that we did last year. And then we are required to have a public hearing before you approve it. So those will be coming to you in June. And then if you have any questions.
I just want to say thank you as usual. Appreciate the presentation to summarize the summary.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
You
Helps a
should,
lot.
just for fun, bring the whole budget so people can
You know,
see it.
Dr. Cushwinder Gill, I had never had this happen before. She asked me to be a guest speaker for her class. And so I showed them an account string, and they looked at it, and one of them said, "This is Greek to me. I don't understand this." It felt good, though.
Said it for years. I mean, you speak a different language. You speak
I
a
do.
Thank you for my detailed questions about the
Yes.
budget.
Yes.
I still don't.
I wanted to thank you for all the work that you put into this and confess that it took me like 15 minutes of panic before I realized that you put the first update on the top. And so what I was reading was the first update numbers,
Oh,
and I'm looking
yes.
at through the lens of the second update going,
Okay.
these can't be right.
Okay, good.
It took me 15 minutes. I'm a newbie.
Saw the top. Good. Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm good. Move we approve the second interim budget report for 2014-2015.
I will
Second.
second, okay.
I think you beat him. Sharon got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E is consider approval of Mountain House High School updated fundraisers. Staff report, anything further?
Just one quick correction. Something was put in there of had happened in February 18th, and it was actually intended to say March 18th. It was a boys' basketball fundraiser. That's it.
I move we approve the updated Mountain House High School fundraisers
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, consider approval of California Department of Education waiver for extended school year. Staff report.
This is a summer school program for special ed kids. It's an official, this is how we're officially organizing it, and it needs official board approval.
I will move for, I need to be reading the right one, for approval of the California Department of Education waiver for extended school year.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H is consider approval of recommendation from Facilities Use Committee for Amendment Number 2 to the 2014-15 Facilities Use Rental Handbook. Alvina, do you want to take it, or?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I think there was a couple of recommendations made, and I agree with. On page 255, page 9, removing the word please and putting in do not use school site address as business address on personal flyers. I like that.
They weren't here. They have to understand the background of this. This was brought to the committee by the staff to let us know that a person renting one of our facilities sent out a flyer to every resident in Mountain House with the return address of our school to make it look like it was their business address. So they were.
What's wrong?
Well, right now,
How
there's
many
no-
got returned?
Right now, there's nothing. So that's why we need to have a policy
I
to
didn't
show them
count
that
them.
yes,
They were probably about this high.
a lot of returns. So yes. So anyway, so we didn't have anything that said they can't do that. So that's why this is coming before you tonight.
And then the second.
Start it with thou shalt.
Oh, no, shall's the big legal word. Shall not.
And if you do, your reservation will be automatically terminated.
And then the other was page 19. It should be the word entire court area, not whole court area.
And the background on that, we had a request to use the basketball courts, and staff brought the question to the committee, so do we charge for this? Is this like any other rental? And the committee unanimously said, yes, we should charge. So I guess the question before the board tonight is, do you concur? And do you concur with the fee? This can be changed. This is just what's being proposed tonight. So we'll need some discussion on this item.
On whether it's the entire court?
Both, whether they have to reserve the courts, and if so, the fee. This is something that we hadn't covered when we brought the packet initially, so the committee recommendation is that we charge, and that we charge the same that we charge for any other field.
Yeah, and I was at the meeting and listened to that conversation, and I agree with the recommendation.
I agreed with it.
Okay, very good.
I agree with it as well, and especially, I think we need to make sure, aside from the fees, that any organization that's using our facilities is filling out all the proper applications and supplying the proper insurance information, because that can get us into issues.
Now, my next question is, they've submitted an application for a future date. Are we going to charge them a fee or just charge any future requests?
How have we handled other situations like this? Because I'm sure something. has
Only
set a
few,
date.
yes, correct. Establish an effective date.
Then that's what I think we should do.
And I would say that we did, for the few that we got in the interim, we did provide a kind of a grandfathering position to allow them to come in under the old scheme. I don't think it was really anticipated. I would say that I'm going to guess if we asked the entity that it has made this
They already
proposal.
said no.
That-
They already said no retroactive fees.
Well, of course, that's what he said, but, you know.
What's the date of the event?
It's April 24th, I think. It's in April.
And is it a series, or is it just one
I
event?
think it's one event.
It's a one-day
And he submitted his application already.
Yes.
The application is in, but it's beyond the 30, I mean, it's beyond 30 days, so the payment would be due 30 days prior, which we haven't reached yet.
Yeah, then I don't think we charge him. I think we
And I would
grandfather
agree with
him
that,
under
too.
the old stuff.
We were under the old stuff when he submitted the application. He was making, the person, the entity, the group was making plans based on what was existing at the time. Much like we did with the football, we
Right.
didn't change midstream when they had already submitted application. It's not a huge deal, I don't think. I mean, we're talking a one-day event.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, everyone now knows
Any
this
new
is
apps.
the plan. And I would say just make it effective for any applications received after, the adoption date.
Okay.
That'd
Do
be
we
my
want to
proposal.
make it effective like tonight?
Any
being that
new
we
apps
approve,
received?
Or do we want to do it fiscal year?
Oh, no, I think we should make it effective tonight. But I disagree with that. I think that the organization should pay. That's my, I feel that way, but that's fine. It sounds like we have consensus the other way.
So what would the fee be for that group?
It's $5 an hour.
It's $40 for 8 hours. But it's a fundraising event, so that's what
It
we
is a
said.
fundraising
I'm looking
event.
at what we did for
Then they should pay.
the Mountain House Football Group. When they submitted their proposal and we were looking to charge fees, we allowed them in under the old structure. I don't think we should change that prior practice. That's just my position.
Well, if they would have submitted requests for a series of them, a series of dates, I would vote, I would be like, well, no, we're not going to, just because the policy wasn't clear on something, we're not going to, hold ourselves, so I'm on the fence. I could be convinced either way. I don't, I'm not.
For me, I think it's because it's a fundraiser. I think if it was an event that was not charging,
Which the committee made very clear to Mountain House, or to the football, that they couldn't charge.
Correct.
So,
Are they charging admission to get
change it.
into it?
Ah, sure.
Yeah,
They'll
it's
charge
just a
admission for the
fundraiser.
teams, but I don't think they're charging admission for the spectators. Am I incorrect in
well,
that?
that might be the question. If they're charging admission, charge them. If they're not, then don't.
If If they're charging admission to the spectators, I would have a completely different perspective. I don't think that's the plan. And if that is the plan, that's what I would say, is if they're gonna charge.
Charging. Why does it matter who they're charging? If
They
they're
charge the
charging
kids
a
to play
team or an
football.
individual.
You charge the kids to play football.
Yeah,
But they're still a nonprofit. It's.
that's not a fundraiser, is
The
it?
fundraiser comes in by the fees you're charging to participate in the activity. It's actually a fairly common fundraiser in bigger cities and bigger school districts to do a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. It actually
Football
does.
that you're referencing, that wasn't a fundraiser, though.
No, it was their actual game, and what we told them was, if you're charging admission, you're paying the full freight. They didn't charge admission, they didn't pay the full freight. And I would
Tier
think that's a
three
fair.
organization anyway, right?
Yeah. No, well, no, they're nonprofit, so it's not. The organizations are the same, that's what I'm saying. The organizations are the same. While this one is a fundraiser and the other one wasn't, I would tie it to that. If they're gonna charge admission to bring people in the gate, and that's part of the fundraising scheme, the $40 isn't gonna hurt them, they should pay it. But if they're not charging admission, that's really just asking them to ask the teams to pay an increased freight. And they, when planning it, didn't have that in mind. For a one-day event, I'd agree. I just don't see it being worth it for that.
With
And
Colin, I'm on the fence now.
In actuality, in actuality, the kids who were playing football were paying to play every one of those games.
Yes, every single one.
So in that respect, it's
the same.
It wasn't
it's
a
the same.
fundraiser.
Yes.
Well,
But it wasn't a fundraiser.
but what is this group raising funds for?
That's what I was just gonna ask. Do we
It should
know?
be in the application.
Remember.
But I wanna say it's for,
We keep saying this group. Is it like inappropriate to ask which group, or is that?
I said
I
this group
think
because I don't know.
our Facilities use stuff is all public. I don't remember.
Yeah, so which group is it?
I know who
Who is it?
Even know, what is it?
I know it's Mountain House.
football.
Yeah.
I believe the funds are going to Mountain House Flag Football.
So then it would be funds to defray what the kids pay to play.
That's my
So it's the same.
It's again, the same as the football in most aspects, but again,
It's one event.
Okay.
It's one event,
That
it's one
answer
day.
just pushed me over to Matt's opinion. I thought it was a fundraiser, for leukemia or
I believe it is
for
for-
their
it's for-
own
it's for-
organization.
It's for their organization.
Okay.
it's
And-
one day, it's $40. That's just my perspective.
Well, and the organization, CSD has places to play. Why not use the
They
CSD?
have one court.
Okay.
I get, it's a 3-on-3 tournament, you can't run on one court, you just can't. And this, like I said, we're the only game in town, they submitted the application under rules, it's, the way we treated Mountain House football is, I believe.
I will donate $40 to Mountain House Flag Football.
Moving on.
You go 20 each, I'll go 20. If we're gonna do it, I'll go 20, you go 20, we'll call it even, that's a great idea.
Because I want to go to bed sometime.
The last item that we need to look at is the in-kind services. So we had a policy.
Did we vote on the?
Yeah, we'll tie it all in at the end. The last item with this is the in-kind services. So we have a process that's articulated in the handbook. If someone wants to have in-kind services, they fill out the form and turn it in. We didn't have anything past that. So we're creating the policy, what's before you tonight is to create a policy where once we receive the in-kind form request, the Director of Maintenance Operations Transportation will meet with the organization, have them show exactly what they want to do, and he'll get a quote from our vendor, our landscape vendor. And then based on that, we'll bring it to the committee and say, hey, right now it's Valley Crest. Valley Crest says that'll cost $100, so that's what we'll take off of your charge. And then the committee can have conversation with the organization. So we had to kind of clean that up. That became an issue.
Yes, it did.
So based on that, what's before us are these three policies, including $5 an hour for the whole court, for basketball courts, and allowing the organization that's already applied fees waived.
Why is page 9 in there? I couldn't quite figure out why I was reading that.
I was trying to find an appropriate place to put that information, and I thought with the banners or advertisements.
Okay,
that
that's
would
what
be
I
an
thought it
appropriate
might
place
be.
to
I
put it.
like the chart, and I like the way these come to us in the chart.
Good.
I thought maybe that was where you were suggesting we put one of them. Okay.
It might actually help, yeah. So that's you've included page 9 because that's where you want
Section,
to add
yes.
some of the page sections there.
Oh,
You
yeah,
just
page-
didn't
in
include
the-
the other
yeah, the
section,
page in the
which
handbook,
might be
yeah.
a good idea. I would say that if you're going to include the change, give us the page in the handbook so we can kind of see
exactly
that
what
it
I
goes
did.
in there.
Or
That's
even
in
the
there.
way you did on the chart on page 19, you kind of bolded and underlined it so we could see what you were adding.
Yes.
If you could do that in the narratives also.
Will do.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But I really like the format that all of this is coming.
Good.
Absolutely.
With that, we are going to need a motion.
I'm going to move we approve the Facilities Use Committee Amendment Number 2 for the 2014-2015 Facilities Use Rental Handbook with the waiver of fees for the basketball court.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We're all going to donate.
Item I is consider,
Wallets.
item I, consider approval to adjourn from open session to public hearing on the Carl Perkins CTE federal grant waiver.
No,
Oh, oops. Second.
Sharon got it with Shane as a second. We are now in public hearing. I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Now we're in public hearing. Item J is consider approval staff report on the,
Mr. Faubert, just a quick summary of what the federal grant is for.
Carl Perkins Grant is a federal grant that funds career technical education. Typically, a district will join a consortium of other districts to join in on the funding for it. It's late in the game, number one. Number two, a lot of times when smaller districts join a consortium, they get lost in the consortium and they don't get very much funding at all because the consortium decides how much money each district gets. We have the opportunity to apply for the Perkins grant. Unfortunately, you can only apply for grants of $15,000 or more, and we don't qualify for $15,000, but if we have a waiver, we can apply for $10,000 or below. We plan on applying for a $10,000 Perkins grant to go towards our career technical education programs. We are using it for we want to use it for Project Lead the Way, for our culinary arts program, for our Health Occupational Students of America Club that goes to the state competition and the regional competitions. And in order to write the waiver, or in order to write the grant, we have to have a waiver, and part of those, the requirements of getting a waiver is we have to have a public hearing to explain this and see if anybody has input about that, about why we're not part of a consortium or whatnot. If we get the $10,000 and we are on our own, then we get to keep all the $10,000 as opposed to sharing it with other districts. So that's why, and part of the reason why we're allowed to apply for the grant the way we are and gain the waiver is because we are considered a rural district as well. We're called a rural fringe district, and only certain districts can apply for a waiver. We just happen to. We are a rural fringe district.
We're a fringe
The
district.
people of the fringe. So.
very good, thank you.
Can I ask just one question?
More discussion, please.
Just one question to are we anticipating we would going to need this waiver on an annual basis for a while? Is the enrollment number
The
something we're close
waiver
to?
is good for 5 years. And then 5 years from now, depending on how enrollment is, we may qualify for
What is the enrollment figure?
$15,000 or above. Excuse me?
You know what the enrollment figure is?
I don't recall what it is.
I'm just curious.
No.
But 5-year waiver, I'm good with that. Thank you.
Any other board discussion? Any public comment?
I move we adjourn public hearing and return to open session.
Second.
Thanks, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry.
Item K, consider approval of the Carl Perkins grant waiver.
Go ahead, David.
I move we approve the application for the Carl Perkins grant waiver.
Second. I beat you. I got it. I got it, Mr. President.
All got it, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information discussion items. Item A is the first reading of the 2015-16 Safe Schools Plan. Dr. Gill? Or did you have something? I'm sorry.
It's first read.
It's the first read. It's the annual document that we bring to you every year. Our safety committee works very hard on reviewing the document, making the changes based on what is happening during the school year and any new laws, new policies, and so on. Then this document goes to all of the school sites. We send it to all the principals, ask them to get input from the staff, parents, students, everybody, and then we bring it forward to the board. This is the first read, and then next meeting we'll be bringing the second read to you.
I'd like to commend the committee, commend Dr. Gill. We did a little flip learning exercise with this. She'd sent out the sections that we had to
Correct.
review, and then we came back, put it up on the screen, and everyone went around and added their changes. So it moved quickly and very efficiently, and I'm happy to say we reduced the document. It's a lot more efficient than what we started with in years past.
It used to be 150 pages long or so on. It is becoming shorter and conciser. Conciser is not a word. Concise. And the team, the entire team goes through the entire document, every single page together. That's what really makes the flipped learning activity twice. So we started that process way back in November and every meeting spend a little bit of time on this document, and then we give them homework.
So the only question I had, on page 300 of, it's page 32 of the plan. Okay, on the bottom under lockdown, it has a quote of what is supposed to be read over the PA system. And then, at the very end, it says, bold any announcements to be made. The announcement is there, so that could be a little confusing. So my suggestion was to add the word, bold any additional announcements to be made here. Maybe I'm not reading this right. What does bold any announcements to be made mean?
This was a reminder for all of the school sites that within this document, anytime there's an announcement, we will actually bold it. So within the document, usually the document is written in a regular font. So within this document, anytime there is any announcement that needs to be made, this is for the staff.
Got
to
it.
know, yes.
Got it. I
So
don't think
anytime
it
there
belongs
is-
there, but I understand the
Correct.
purpose of the statement now.
Anytime there is any
You
announcement,
didn't understand my question, Kirk.
Maybe it should read any announcements to be made are in bold or something like that.
we could do that, yes.
We can-
But there?
Any announcement to be made are in bold.
Yeah, that is.
Why would you put it after the announcement? I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what she's talking
What about any additional announcements to be made?
Well, that's what I
Because
thought.
about. No,
Yes.
that's what she said. No, this is.
Yeah, I know that.
The point is, this is announcements, and there are more bolded
the
sections, which
Twilight
are also
Zone.
announcements other than.
Actually, when the document becomes normal, because we within the document, you will see lots of underlined and bolder sections right now because those are the changes for you from the previous year. But when we finalize the document and after you prove it, when it goes to the staff and we put it on the website, the only thing that will be bolded in the entire document will be any announcements, nothing else.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I was
Yes.
just going to say, so we're going to announce any and all persons with disabilities will be assisted.
So yeah, so
That underlined piece right there, the whole thing will come out.
yes,
Okay, got it.
correct.
I'm fine now.
So, yes, this document does have lots of bolded and underlined sections. That is just for the board's views because these are the changes we have made from last year's document.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Gill and Trustee Balzerini and the rest of the committee for all the hard work that this document represents. I know that a lot of time and effort was spent in getting this right, and I appreciate their efforts.
I would echo that. Thank you very much. It was a good document.
And it is a good document. I've seen safety plans. This is a work of art.
Thank you.
It really is.
We have a great committee with parents, staff and teachers and administrators who work very hard on this. So it's a team effort.
Oh, and I'm very, very pleased with the group that we have. It's a good bunch, a lot of hard work and great ideas. So thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Item B is the first reading of the 2015-16 Wellness Plan. Dr. Gill?
Welcome back.
Same thing here. This is an annual document again. We bring it this to the board. We are always want to make sure we are ahead of the game. So, so this is will be the wellness plan for next year. Again, we have a committee. We meet on a monthly basis, comprised of our food service director, parents, classified staff, teaching staff, administrators, and Mr. Pombo. And we go through the same kind of exercise with this document again. Everybody reviews it, brings feedback, and then it goes to the staff and to the school sites. They give us feedback, and then we update it based on the current events that are happening every year. That's where you see the changes in the tables. And we are proud to say, I'm very proud to say, that some other organizations, big organizations, have made their fund their grant applications and other documents based on our wellness plan. Just saying.
Very nice. Very nice.
Questions?
So the only suggestion that I had when this came to us last year in relay recess, I can't remember, was it listed once or twice last year?
Once, we used to do it once. Now we're doing it twice.
So I would like to encourage principals to expand that whenever they can. That I can see the twice district-wide day, but I'd like to hear principals doing it a little bit more often when
They do it the third time, which is they call it turkey trot. Same concept, but that's a fundraiser, for the school sites. And so they do it in November. Then district-wide, and they actually, literally all of the sites do in November. Last year we did do it twice, actually. The first year we did it once. And so as a district, we do it in March and May. I mean, if we want to do it one more time, we would love to, but that's where we are right now.
And I think it's difficult when you're trying to organize it across the whole district. I would just like to encourage principals, if they find time that they can do, even just get out there and run with the kids. Doesn't have to be called an official relay recess.
They do things like Bethany was sharing today. They have rallies, those type of things. Different schools have those type of different events. But this is a district-wide, keeping wellness in forefront, because everybody brings a fresh fruit or vegetable of their choice, and we really invite community. It's a big deal, and everybody in the district walks at the same exact time. That's what really makes it a big deal. Except the high school was a little special this year.
They are special.
Yes. They actually tied it with their fire drill. That's how they evacuated the kids and then said, okay, now let's walk. It was fun.
Started for the fire drill, too. Yeah, nice. Well done.
Yes.
Thank you very much for all the hard work. Trustee Pombo,
you.
thank you for being on the committee, and thank you to all the board for being on all the different committees. It's nice to get, roll up our sleeves and get involved with the rest of the staff and then the parents and everyone else that's working on this stuff. So it's nice to get a bird's eye view of what's going on.
And I would just like to thank Dr. Gill for her leadership and participation in this committee. She does a lot.
And especially going after that grant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free money's nice. And with that's the calendar listed. All the committee meetings are coming up. Particular attention to the next governing board meeting, which ironically is on April Fool's Day. And with that,
I move we adjourn to closed session.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We're now moving into closed session. Thank you, everyone.